and Facebook for exciting deals.
I think I'm going to be in the good books today, Greg. I'm in the good books. Boy, I'm early. Look at that.
You are indeed, Lee.
Isn't that nice? Not
Well, not
late?
really. 20 minutes, 20 seconds, sorry.
Which
But
is
it's
the
not too
time
bad.
we say, have a good morning, have a good show, and all of that. And man.
Thursday already, bro.
I know.
And dark.
Aye.
It was dark when I was picking Aaron up from school yesterday as well.
What time was that? At 4 or 5, was it?
Yeah, 4. So it's dark going to school, dark coming back from school.
And look, you're wearing a big black shirt. This is going to be a dark programme, is it?
No, it's going to be full
Good
of
and
light
cheery.
and joy as always, Lee.
I see you cut your wee finger. What happened to the wee finger?
I was making dinner.
You chopped the finger?
Chicken. I was making chicken.
Can easily happen, can't it?
Well, it doesn't happen to me. I was quite angry with myself, but I was using my knife's gone blunt, so I was using the machete. Not machete, you know that
Machete?
big... No.
What kind of chicken?
No, the big knife.
God help the poor
I
chicken.
don't know what it's called. Well, it was
No,
already dead.
big.
The chicken was already dead.
The big
Lee.
thick knife.
All right.
Yeah, but you know, you can. Dad would say to me, because Dad was a butcher years ago, he used to say, like, a blunt knife will cause more damage, cut wise than a sharp one.
Yeah, unless you put a sharp one through your finger.
Oh, God.
But anyway, it's all good. It's fine.
Did you eat the
I tell you
chicken?
what it's like. It's not a bad cut. Of course it is. It's not a bad cut, but it's like a paper cut. Do you know where the skin kind of...
I know, it's
just literally
It'd be better
nothing
letting the
worse.
air at it than that sticky
it's
plaster.
too flappy.
Come here, what was the chicken? What did you do? Chicken
I
curry or
made
something?
chicken madras, yeah.
Chicken what?
Chicken madras curry.
Oh, very fancy.
I know,
what
from
kind of
scratch.
stuff's in that? Spicy stuff?
It's really tomato-based, onion, garlic,
Yeah.
various spices.
God, we should have a Greg's
Chopped
house
tomatoes.
party.
Yeah.
That's-
Coriander. Coriander's the key.
Is
ingredient
it? Fresh or
if you
out
want
of
it to taste like similar to what you might have out,
Yeah,
fresh
restaurant type
coriander is
thing.
essential.
Lovely, yeah. And rice and stuff, or was it?
Half and half.
Nice.
Poppadoms, a bit of chutney.
You joking, are you?
No, no, I did,
God,
yeah.
you're handy. You're a bit of an old devil, aren't you, in the
Obvious.
kitchen?
I am what am I? Mystery. I'm a mystery.
There's plenty of things people would say about you, but anyway, there you go. I'll leave you to it.
All right, Lee, take care of yourself. Thank you very much indeed. See you soon, Lee Gooch. We are going to get a news update at 9:01, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Donegal has been identified as an emerging deer hotspot due to the large but unquantified number of the animals in the county. There has been repeated calls for a deer cull to take place in the county following a number of collisions in West Donegal. A report from the Irish Deer Management Strategy Group recommends a deer cull take place in response to the growth in numbers of animals. Agriculture Minister Charlie McConlogue is to bring the report before Cabinet today. He says it has been particularly challenging for Donegal.
We can't have it continue the way it has been the last number of years. I look forward to seeing the recommendations of this strategy fully implemented, and coming from Cabinet today, I'll be stepping out those different steps and making sure that this action happens in the hotspots across the country, and then particularly as well, we see action in Donegal where there's been a real challenge growing in recent times.
The government's budget has come in for scathing criticism from its own watchdog. The Irish Fiscal Advisory Council says the coalition used gimmickry to downplay the effects its €12 billion package would have on inflation. The body says an everything now approach was taken. Acting Chair Professor Michael McMahon says the government's been rewriting the rules.
Even this year, they redefined something as windfall capital spending and therefore took it out of their rule. This is like if you had a diet and you said, I'm not going to eat like sort of treats, but then you redefine what a treat is. You start saying, well, a biscuit isn't a real treat, so I'm allowed to have biscuits. It's just gaming the system.
There's fears someone will be seriously injured unless safety works are carried out on a bridge in Buncrana. There's been yet another near miss on Mill Bridge. Earlier this year, a pram was hit by the wing mirror of a truck, while last week an elderly walker had a lucky escape. Councillor Rena Donaghy says funding must be found to carry out the much needed works.
An elderly woman had her foot up on the footpath when a lorry came from the other side and was up on the footpath also. So that bridge needs to be sorted. We need to remove the footpath. There's no reason why we can't build a bridge similar to the one that they've done in Clonmany a few years ago. It's going to be costly, but a life would be a lot more costly.
Weather now, it will turn wet and quite windy again for a time today with spot flooding possible. A band of rain will move across the country this morning and afternoon, followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Make their Christmas electric with gifts from Curry's. Get the Nintendo Switch OLED with Mario Kart 8 and 3-month online membership for only $349. Or save €50 on the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4 with Bluetooth connection, now only $179. Shop in-store or online at currys.ie.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 till Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Just turning 5 minutes past 9 on this Thursday, the 7th of December 2023. We've got 2 clocks here in the studio, and for the first time in about 4 months, they both say the same time. I'm all confused. All right, so it is actually 5 minutes past 9. Okay, you're very welcome along to another edition of the 9 till Noon Show, the penultimate show of the week, and we've got loads to keep you informed and entertained over the next 3 hours. And I'm going to invite you, as I always do, to get involved in the conversation, because we get new people message and text in every day. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. You can send your voice notes to that number as well, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. And if email is your thing, and we had a few emails in overnight, which I'll get to a little later on, comments at highlandradio.com. That's the email address. And good morning, Annie. Good morning, Dolores. It's always good to have the two of you and the hundreds of others that join us to watch the programme every single day across the various platforms and on our website. And I'll tell you early on, if you want to, maybe it suits you, or you're at home and you're sick of watching this morning, or hello, Audrey just popped up there. Maybe you're sick of watching this morning or other stuff that's got nothing to do with you. Well, you can watch your own radio show on the TV. Your smart TV will have YouTube on it. Just type in Highland Radio Ireland. You'll see we're live. You can do the same on your Fire Stick. Many of you out there have your Fire Sticks as well. The YouTube app, Highland Radio Ireland. We're across Facebook and across your mobile devices as well. And also there's a little Watch Live tab on our website, so you can watch live in the browser there. It's just more ways for you to interact, and also too, and we've got a number of people, which is really quite important to me, who are have issues with their hearing or can't hear as well as they once did. And they watch the show and they see the subtitles. They're auto-generated by the social media, and they're able to track what's happening across their region, across the world, by watching the show and reading the subtitles, which I find very rewarding. Okay. It's a Thursday, so it's a bumper morning for newspapers. The Tyrconnell Tribune is first on the list. As the council struggles to get the new county development plan over the line, it seems that a number of key recommendations from the Office of Planning Regulator are causing major issues for the elected members and rural dwellers. The most impacted are those hoping to build a house in the countryside or seeking access on junctions along the N56. A plenary meeting of the council to finalise the plan was scheduled for next Thursday. That's now cancelled until February. This, it appears, is due to the complexity of works relating to the 286 submissions and to complete the report of the Chief Executive of the Council. Sources told the Tribune that there is an increase in the housing target in Letterkenny. In effect, the OPR accepts the housing target for Letterkenny in the recently adopted Letterkenny plan. There's also an increase in housing targets for urban and rural settlement relative to their scale. However, there is a decrease proposed in housing targets for the open countryside. Therefore, any further report seems likely to result in the distribution of housing targets from rural to urban areas. So this is really quite important. It's an important piece of work here from John McAteer, because, you know, in a year, 2 years, 3 years' time, when you're trying to seek planning permission in some of these areas, this is the kind of decision that could mean a yay or nay. So it's really quite significant and well worth noting at this stage of the process. This is an issue we're going to talk about a little later on in the programme, and it's in the Donegal News this morning. Parents across Donegal have had to remortgage their homes in order to help pay off drug debts that have been amassed by family members, as Senior Garda has claimed. Chief Superintendent Aidan Glacken has described the drugs problem as a cancer on society that is continuing to grow. There are families, he said, in distress, families who are suffering, and families who are at their wits' end. He said, anything we can do to assist that, we will. His comments came at Friday's meeting of the Donegal County Joint Policing Committee during a debate on drug seizures in the county this year. The total monetary value of the drugs seized is over 1.6 million, a large amount of which relates to the discovery of packages of drugs which washed up onto Donegal beaches last July. So effectively, in terms of seizures, the majority, quite literally almost, fell onto the Garda lap. But 3.8 million, sorry, I think I might have said 1.8 million. Are you a family affected by that? Have you had to... are you under pressure in meeting drug debts? I understand it's perhaps something that you can't necessarily speak publicly on, but it would be very interesting if you are that person and you can tell us your story and I'll relate it for you. How does it work in terms of having to meet someone's drug debts? Are there threats? Are there threats to life? You can contact us in absolute anonymity on 07491 25,000, and if you have that story, we can get that out for you without fear of anyone knowing who you are or the fact that you're speaking out. But if you want to use this platform to maybe start something that might see even more action in this regard, just let us know if you want to. 07491 25,000. The front page of the Donegal Democrat this morning. A Sligo man has pleaded guilty to a series of charges over an incident that saw him produce a knife while threatening a woman in Bundoran. David Moran appeared at Donegal Circuit Court on Tuesday in connection with the incident on March 28th, 2021. Moran, a 35-year-old with an address at St Joseph's Terrace, Sligo, is currently in custody. Previously, Moran tendered a guilty plea when he appeared before Ballyshannon District Court. The Derry News this morning reports of anger at theft of items from child's grave. A Derry grandmother says she is disgusted after items went missing from her 3-year-old grandson's grave amid a series of thefts at City Cemetery. Kathleen McGuinness said her family had laid items on her grandson Caden's grave for his anniversary, only for them to go missing in a few weeks. It was his anniversary in September and there was no wreaths and a teddy bear flower ornament put up, and they were there for maybe 3 weeks and then they were just gone. They were gone by the first week of October, and that would hurt you on such a deep level. What's going on there? Is that something you've been affected by? Please let us know. 00353 8660 25,000 if you're WhatsApping or messaging us from the north. Budget Watchdog has given the government a bit of a slap on the wrist, according to the Irish Independent. The government's own fiscal watchdog has accused it of using gimmickry and trying to game the system to downplay an inflation-busting $12 billion budget giveaway for next year. In an excoriating report out today, the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council says the government ignored spending overruns in health, blurred the lines between permanent and one-off measures, and failed to target cost of living supports to those who need them most. So, for an example, money spent in housing Ukrainians, money spent in the wake of COVID that's still on the books for this year, next year, but then disappears the year after. Well, we all know that there is still going to have to be funding for that. So whilst it might look like one-off funding, it's not one-off funding at all and is in the wrong column, so to speak. Spending too much money when prices are already high is bad value for money, the report says, and will add fuel to inflation, pushing up prices by 0.7% next year and almost 2% over 2 years. And unfortunately, the way inflation works is you need people to be skint, or so skint that they don't spend as much as they might. That reduces demand, and I'm looking at this in a really basic sense. That reduces demand and sort of drives prices down. One of the recommendations they do make is that support should be more targeted, and I think, do most of you agree that is the case? That, you know, given people who can comfortably pay their electricity bill a big chunk of cash, is that good, or should that money be better targeted to those who need it more, or what? There are other measures, one-off measures that are kind of universal that they believe should be more targeted, which would make a more equal, fair society, perhaps. The Irish Times, you would have heard Gardaí saying that they don't want to draw their batons, or they're afraid to use force because of the risk of sanction or ending up in court or what have you. But it turns out that there are a few court cases on alleged Garda excessive force, and this is in the Irish Times. Between 450 and 500 complaints alleging Garda members have used excessive force are made each year, according to the Garda Síochána Ombudsman's Commission. That's GSOC. Figures, but the number that end up in court is in the low single digits, and such cases very often result in acquittals. Allegations of excessive use of force or assault by an on and off duty member account for about 1/5 of the complaints made to the Garda watchdog annually. In a recent case before the courts, which concluded 2.5 years after the excessive use of force complaint was made, the accused detective was acquitted. The judge said the detective should have been commended for the way he conducted himself rather than prosecuted. That being said, the prosecution or lack thereof is not really the crucial part of that. He had this charge hanging over him for 2.5 years, which I think is one of the complaints we've heard from the Garda Representative Association in the past, that these allegations, these GSOC investigations, hang over members of the force for a very long time. 2.5 years seems an awful long time to not really know where you're going. Right, the Irish Mail this morning, Boris Johnson, he was before the UK's COVID inquiry. I think a lot of people calling for these COVID inquiries were perhaps thinking that, you know, it might have said that the whole thing was a sham, or that, you know, on some really big decisions, everything was gotten wrong. It's not really turning out that way in the COVID inquiry over in the UK. I mean, yesterday, Boris Johnson, and I watched some of it, much of it, that I could, and really there was no, it seems to be generally accepted that everything they did was right in terms of the lockdowns when they happened, trying to flatten the curve, protect the NHS, save lives, getting the vaccine rollout, all being lauded, not questioned at all. Really, the only thing Boris Johnson has apologised for, if the truth be told, is that he didn't lock the country down quick enough. There was some big football matches and a big horse racing festival that went ahead, and that's really what he's been apologising for, nothing else. Maybe I think there are people that thought COVID inquiries would come up with a whole different set of answers or questions. But anyway, Boris Johnson apologised yesterday for the loss and suffering caused by the COVID pandemic, but insisted he did his level best to protect lives. In a highly charged appearance at the COVID inquiry, which I wouldn't frame it as that, to be honest with you, because I think it was really quite relaxed, and I thought he was not combative at all. He didn't take them on. He was mea culpa. He got emotional, so I don't really believe it. I wouldn't describe it as highly charged. The former UK Prime Minister acknowledged mistakes had been made and said he should have tweaked sooner that the virus could trigger a once-in-a-century pandemic. But he said the entire Whitehall establishment had underestimated the scale and the pace of the challenge. He said it was only when he saw the horrors of the outbreak in Italy in February that year that he realised its seriousness. The Farmers Journal this morning, over 18,600 hit by delay to acres payments. The 46,000 farmers in acres have been dealt a pre-Christmas hammer blow to their scheme payments. This follows confirmation that over 100 million in payments to 18,600 farmers in the Agri-Climate Rural Environment Scheme, Cooperation Scheme, will be delayed until 2024. Senior Department of Agriculture officials blamed the payment problems on the complexity of acres. It's understood that the department's computer systems are struggling to process the commonage scorecards. I'm glad to see this clarified, because when the story first emerged, I knew it was nonsense and said as much on this programme, and I think it really undermined the very good response to the awful tragedy which visited us on October 7th, 2022. But in the papers today, a claim that ambulances in the north were unable to cross the border into Donegal to help at the Creeslough tragedy on October 7th, 2022 that took the lives of 10 people has been declared untrue. It was said that the ambulances could not operate because foreign-born paramedics on board did not have visas allowing them to cross. The claim emerged during a meeting of the British Irish Parliamentary Assembly as a result of information published in a report called Protecting the Common Travel Area in the Post-Brexit Era. Fine Gael Senator Eamon Carey was chair of the BIPA steering committee that presented the report at the meeting in County Kildare on October 24th. You might remember then she made some reference to the report. She was quoted on that. There was a big hoo-ha, big controversy, but that report now has been amended. There was a big debate in the Dáil last night. The Dáil was twice on the verge of being suspended yesterday after a heated debate on immigration into Ireland descending into an explosive row. Rural TVDs were accused of using the Dublin riots and people's concerns about immigration to win votes in a motion that was labelled disgusting and disgraceful. However, Michael Healy-Rae blasted back, labelling one TD a horrible little man in a bitter row that threatened to collapse the Dáil. Is Michael Healy-Rae not doing really quite well out of immigration? Rural independent TDs tabled a motion which called for an end to unlimited inward immigration and the introduction of strict migration laws to eliminate what they called asylum tourism. But they failed, and this is quite critical because there was 6 of them. And I just want to make sure I get this correct. So after all of the hoo-ha backwards and forwards and what have you, the rural independents, there's 6 of them, they tried to pass a motion which would implement a cap on the number of asylum seekers permitted into Ireland. They were backed by just one TD, Peadar Tóibín of Aontú. He's also clearly in favour of a cap on the number of asylum seekers permitted into Ireland. A government counter motion to keep things as is was passed without a vote because there was only 7 people that opposed keeping our immigration as it is right now. So I really think that's quite significant because there's an awful lot of government TDs, an awful lot of opposition TDs, but only 7 were going to oppose the government's counter motion, which would have changed, to keep the status quo. So 6 rural TDs, Peadar Tóibín, everybody else effectively was to side with the government to keep things as they are. And the Irish Daily Mirror, teenagers who spend more than 4 hours a day on their smartphones are putting their health at serious risk, a study warns. Dangers include psychiatric disorders, musculoskeletal problems and sleep and eye issues. Heavy users also suffer at higher rates of stress, suicidal thoughts, obesity and substance use. So I think that's aimed at teenagers, but perhaps something we could all take a look at. All right, we're going to be talking about brown bins in a moment. If you have any questions about brown bins and their introduction, we'll get to that. I want to read an email here, because yesterday we had a guest on. Oh, okay, should I come to that email afterwards? Yeah, all right. I'll be back with more after these.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
The Department of Social Protection is working to improve disability payments in Ireland. There is currently a consultation on how these payments might work better in the future. We want to hear your views on how the system might be improved. To find out more, please visit gov.ie/disability payments reform. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
Everyone loves going to the cinema. That's why an Eclipse Cinemas gift voucher is the perfect Christmas present. They aren't just for kids, but all the family. Even little Miss Hard to Buy For. We all have one of them. And when you buy an Eclipse Cinemas gift voucher, you now get 10% extra free. Available on our Bundoran and Leopardstown cinemas or at eclipsecinemas.com. Vouchers don't expire and can even be used for dine-in screen options and VIP cinema experiences.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring 70% off sale. Get up to 70% off on all your purchases. Up to 70% off all tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware. Everything's reduced in store. The 70% off sale at Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring. Stores nationwide. Sale extended until Sunday.
EnergyEfficiency.ie are running Ireland's biggest ever solar panel survey and they want to know what you think. Visit EnergyEfficiency.ie to take part and be in with a chance to win a €500 one for all voucher.
Christmas gifting with Irwin Expert Electrical. All the big brands under one roof. Samsung tablets from €139, air fryers from €69 and a huge range of Dyson and Shark hair care. Smartwatches, gadgets and TVs. There's sure to be something for everyone. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
It's time to give your favourite hospitality business the recognition they deserve. Nominate now for the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards at highlandradio.com. Hurry, let's celebrate excellence together. Nominations close on December 13th.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
It is 9:23. So all households will be entitled to a brown bin recycling service under new legislation which will come into effect in January. Around 69% of households in Ireland have a brown bin, and people who have up until now not been able to avail of the services are being urged to contact their waste collector to organise one. Pauline McDonough is spokesperson for mywaste.ie and joins us now. Good morning, Pauline. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, and good morning to you, Greg, and your listeners.
Right, okay. So why is the uptake currently of the brown bin just around about 69%?
Well, that's because the collectors, the waste collectors in the country, haven't had to roll it out nationwide until this point. So up until now, it's largely been available in urban in our council cities.
Unfortunately, Pauline, I can't hear you very well, unfortunately.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's better now once you're a little bit closer. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll just go a bit closer. So as I was saying there, up until now, it's only been available in our urban areas. So this new piece of legislation is bringing it nationwide to all corners of the country.
Okay, so where does the responsibility lie? Is it mostly with us, or is it mostly with waste providers to have these available to us?
Well, it's both, actually, because first of all, the collector has to provide you with the service. And then once you're provided with the service, every household should then separate out their food waste. And this is really important. We know we've got some really stringent recycling.
Pauline, unfortunately, the sound quality is so poor there. We might see if we can reconnect on phone with Pauline. If not, I'll just give the details out here. But it is quite important information. And for some reason, she starts off good, but then the line goes astray a little bit. Any comments on the old brown bin situation? Do you have one? Some people that have them tell me that they can be really quite a little bit stinky and unpleasant, but we'll find out where that waste goes and why it's important to separate it out from black bin waste if we can get Pauline back on the line. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number if you want to get in touch with us. You know that, don't you? Or give us a call on 074 91 25,000, and your emails coming to us at comments@highlandradio.com. From February 1st, this is sort of staying with the recycling situation, customers will have to pay a 15 to 25 cent deposit on every plastic bottle or can they buy, and they'll have to bring back... Right, well, I'll come back to that because I want to go back to Pauline. Pauline, how are you getting on now? Sorry about that. Pauline, why is it important that we separate the food waste from our general waste in the black bin? What can it be used for?
Sure. Well, I think there's two very important things for householders to understand. So when we dispose of food waste, if it goes into our general waste stream, that's normally a black coloured bin. When that, we're basically losing a resource, first of all, something that we can do good with. And the second thing is, if that material is landfilled, when it starts to decompose, it starts to emit a methane gas, which contributes to climate change. So if we separately collect our food waste, we can convert that into compost, which can be used in agriculture or horticulture. Or secondly, we can make, through anaerobic digestion, green electricity from our food waste. So it's a really positive step and something that every household, no matter where they are in the country, can contribute to in a positive way.
Yeah, because you're speaking to an area that a great deal of it is rural. And when I talked of that 69% earlier on, I presume most of them are in urban areas. So this spreads it out evenly right across the country.
Absolutely. And it makes the service, no matter where you live, if you have a waste collection service at the moment, from January next year, your collector will be starting to provide the brown bin service. So this makes it equitable then right across the country, Greg.
All right, just a quick word, if you don't mind, on the plastic and can deposit. A lot of people are concerned that up until now, they were able to put them in their blue bin, you know what I mean, which is outside their house and is very, very effective. Now, to recoup the deposit, they're going to have to put them in the car, perhaps drive somewhere and deposit them. And it's counterintuitive to the the recycling bin message, people feel that they're being forced maybe to do something that's less favourable to the environment when they could have just disposed of it responsibly at home. Have you any concerns about that?
Well, I suppose it's true to say, Greg, that this is it's a fundamental change, what we're going to see with the deposit return. So the first thing to say on a positive note is that an awful lot of this material is lost when we're out and about. So if we think of a day out, we go to the beach or we go somewhere and we use a litter bin. Well, none of those recyclables that we put in ever become recycled. In fact, they're just waste because they're mixed in with so many different things. So by introducing the deposit return, we're putting a value on this waste stream. And the second thing about that is because we're paying a deposit, we are more likely to return it. Now, I understand that people may be saying, well, look, I have to do an extra journey. So I suppose to counterbalance that, we're all going to do our shopping anyway. The deposit return.
Well, a lot of people get shopping delivered, Pauline.
Okay, sure. But I suppose the only thing I can say is that to minimise the number of journeys, people will have to separately manage that waste, if you get me, hold on to it until they are going to a shop. And I understand, I do see the point that people are making, particularly
It's just not a reward for people trying to do that, who up until now have been, trying to do the right thing, and now they're either have to change their habits or they're going to have to face a 10 to 15 to 25 cent levy on the plastic and the plastic bottles and cans.
I know. No, I do appreciate that it is a big change, but I do think that we will get used to it and we'll all find ways to do it efficiently. I think the first couple of months will be challenging for everybody, but I do think we've risen to other challenges before in relation to waste management, and I think Irish people will get behind this.
Okay.
And I think eventually we'll also see communities getting involved, maybe a local club collecting cans and bottles. That way they get a revenue stream. We feel as householders we are.
But the committed recyclers are almost being forced into a 15 to 25% donation to a local cause. I get you. All right, Pauline, listen, thanks very much for your time. I know you're under pressure this morning. Pauline McDonough. Yeah, so I was go back to that text before that because, maybe you are an avid recycler. Maybe this is a fantastic thing, but from February 1st, customers will have to pay 15 to 25 cent deposit on every plastic bottle or can that they buy. You then are being asked to bring back your empties to get the refund. So you'll have to stand there, put them into a machine, as far as I'm aware. This caller says, why should I have to do this when I already pay for a recycling bin and bring things to the recycling banks? The system will only result in a reduction in buying these goods because personally, I think I do enough and shouldn't be charged twice to recycle. But as I say, I know more and more people, and maybe it's a rural Ireland thing, more and more people get the shopping delivered. So this stuff is going to be stored. Where do you store it? Or maybe it's a fantastic thing. I just thought, there seems to be a decent system there, and now we have this new system. What do you all think? 086 60 25,000. Right, so got this email from... No, where is that email? It's this one. It's from Marion that I wanted to read out. Having listened to yesterday morning's interview with the immigrant, now I'm not sure if he's classed himself as an immigrant. I think he's an Irish citizen at this point. But anyway, having listened to this morning's interview with the immigrant, apologies, I do not recall his name. I remain incensed hours afterwards for a few reasons. Firstly, his sense of entitlement as an immigrant to having housing and benefits granted as a matter of course did little to garner support and understanding around immigration issues, but rather I feel it had the opposite effect in promoting resentment around his arrogance and expectation of freebies. What right has this man to heavily and repeatedly criticise the Irish government policies unopposed by Mr. Hughes? What about educating us on his government's policies and social care system that has him here? Yes, there are deficits in Irish policies, but the huge and rapid volume of immigration in a very short time period has been overwhelming. As a person who, after my leaving cert, had to emigrate from a small village to find work, I did not go with the expectation of having housing, funding, etc. handed to me, but rather I was prepared to work, pay taxes and fund myself through third-level education to advance my occupational promotional opportunities, not handouts. So this is also someone who's actually emigrated from Ireland to somewhere else. I want to also comment on the submissive attitude of Mr. Hughes. Had this been a white guest, he would have been more robustly challenged on some of the statements made by the interviewee. Is it that people are now constrained by the threat of being called racist or bigoted or face a complaint if they challenge unfair or irrational statements? If so, we will soon lose the gift of freedom of speech. I was so disappointed that Mr. Hughes thought it necessary in the course of phoning to his guest to belittle the Irish people. To what purpose? I'm not a native Irish speaker, but that does not make me any less a proud Irish person to the core. An apology should be issued promptly. Thanks, Marion. I appreciate that. Now, what you have to remember is that, and they'll come in thick and fast over the course of this morning, and they have to. A lot of people message in saying, Ireland's for the Irish, we need to stop mass immigration, they're only here to sponge, they're only here because of the money, over and over and over again. Now, we got one voice on yesterday who put a counter view. Okay, and because he was given a platform to say that, and I did put all the points to him, that all of a sudden I'm submissive and should offer an apology. I don't see why, because as I say, there's an awful lot of anti-immigrant sentiment out there, and we had an immigrant in here who made the argument as to why that shouldn't be the case. So that's one voice against all the other voices that we often hear. And in asking questions and putting questions to someone, their answers are very important. Okay, they don't always have to be challenged in that they can stand there. Listeners to this show are very, very clever and very intelligent, and they can make up their own minds as well. I challenged him on many different elements of it, but he is of the view, whether you like it or not, he is of the view, and it's not for me to sort of take an anti-immigrant position, because that's not really who I am or what I would do. He's of the opinion that the government has signed up to a charter, which means people from other countries who are fleeing are entitled to come here, and they should be entitled to housing and what have you. Now, that is his view. 20% of the working population in this country are immigrants, just like you when you went off wherever you went to. 20% of them are here working as well. I don't know what percentage are here not to work and just to garner the state, or whatever way you might describe it. But as I say, there is an awful lot of information out there, and for once, we had an immigrant voice. You might not like his answers, but they are his answers. So you think I should not allow him to speak? That we only hear one side of an argument or debate? Where would that get us? I don't think that would get us anywhere. But anyway, listen, I really appreciate you listening. I appreciate your response. And thank you very much for that. But it's just to try and get all views out there. The great public of the Northwest can make up their own minds. They're well capable of doing so. I'm not certainly able to influence, nor would I want to. Okay, keep your comments coming through. If you want a rebuttal on that, please get back in touch with us. You know, this is not a dictatorship. I'm just giving you an honest answer as to your email off the back of that interview. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to get in touch with us.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers, and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
The Tumbling Paddies this Saturday night at Pulse Venue Letterkenny. Doors open at 9:30. Tickets now on sale at Eventbrite with support from DJ Tubbsy. That's the Tumbling Paddies this Saturday night at Pulse Venue Letterkenny.
If you're thinking about changing your car in 2024, why not go electric? It can really help reduce transport emissions and your motoring costs. That's why the government is investing in electric vehicle charging infrastructure and supporting Ireland's transition to zero-emission journeys. Because wherever you're going, your journey counts. For more information on supports and grants from Zero Emission Vehicles Ireland, visit gov.ie/ZEVI. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Burglars are now doing their Christmas shopping. And guess what? They might just be calling with you. Install a wire-free burglar alarm from Sheridan Security Systems before December 31st and get 6 months round-the-clock monitoring free. Contact us today on 912-6025 for a free quotation. Have a peaceful Christmas with Sheridan Security.
Are Harkins have been providing customers with quality fireplaces, stoves and electric fires for over 30 years. And now you can experience the elegance of luxurious worktop from Harkins. Their experienced craftsmen can fabricate marble, quartz or granite worktops to your specification. So, if you're planning a new kitchen or bathroom or upgrading your existing one, Harkin Fireplaces can provide a quote for your quartz, marble or granite worktop. Visit their showroom in Ballybogan, Lifford or call 9141109 or visit them online at harkinfireplaces.ie.
This December the 22nd, you could own a brand new car worth €30,000. Highland Radio is giving away a brand new Skoda Kamiq worth over €30,000. Someone, and it could be you, will get a call from Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon show on Friday, December the 22nd.
You've just won a car.
Yes, steady on, that could be you. If you've got the lucky ticket, simply go to highlandradio.com, click on the car link, answer an easy question and buy a ticket for €10, 6 for €50 or 10 for €80. Highland Radio's great car giveaway. Get your ticket now.
Quake Shake is a new outreach programme looking for people of all ages across Ireland to observe and study local and global earthquakes. Laura Riley is geophysicist with the Dublin Institute of Advanced Studies. Good morning to you, Laura. Thanks for your time today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
No, it's good to have you on the programme. We kind of always have had an interest in earthquakes in this part of the world because we've got St Columba's School in Stranorlar, which often is one of the first to sort of identify tremors either locally or internationally. And I always, well, not always, initially found it amazing that we could have an event, almost on the other side of the world, and it's being recorded at their equipment in Stranorlar. It's kind of mind-boggling in a way, but presumably the more of this equipment we have, the more accurate we can be in terms of location and depth and what have you. Is that what it's all about?
Yeah, you're exactly correct. That's it. And St Columba's and Stranorlar are amazing. They basically recorded the most amount of earthquakes on our old outreach program called Seismology in Schools, and they now have a new Raspberry Shake. They were actually the first school in Ireland to receive a Raspberry Shake. And they're extremely active. And you're absolutely correct. The more Raspberry Shakes we have, the more data we collect, the more accurate our data will be. And essentially, the more actual Irish earthquakes we will pick up because we'll have more data and more seismometers.
So when you have this equipment there, which obviously has to be incredibly insensitive, how does it work? How does it differentiate between a local quarry or a digger that's doing some rock breaking, 20 miles away, or, as I say, a lorry passing a building or what have you? How without getting too technical, how does it work and how does it sort of get rid of the white noise, so to speak?
Yeah, so you're correct in saying you're always going to have noise from roads, noise from construction, you're going to have quarry blasts, but basically the waveform, like the trace, the wiggle, will look slightly different from an actual earthquake in comparison to background noise like traffic. You can always see your commute, your 9 o'clock in the morning, you can see that the noise levels are really super high, and the system will automatically pick out that it's an earthquake. So it's an online system via the Raspberry Shake website, and they basically take hundreds of seismometers and they go, okay, did this seismometer pick up that waveform? Is it picked up on another seismometer in Australia? And then it basically does a mathematical formula that puts it all together and goes, oh, that actually was an earthquake. It wasn't just a lorry on the road or a bus going past. So that's kind of a simple way of saying that's how it picks up the earthquakes. Okay,
we saw the awful earthquakes earlier this year in the Turkey region, okay? So what is actually happening so that then ends up being recorded on a piece of equipment in Stranorlar? Is it vibrations of the earth? Or just give us a wee insight as to what the equipment here is recording. Yeah, so the equipment is recording seismic waves that radiate and travel outwards all around the globe. Now, is that a seismic? That's not a sound, is it? That's like a reverberation or a vibration? It's a seismic wave. Right. There's the main types of seismic waves are primary waves and surface waves. Okay. And so the seismometer is basically, it's like a listening device. It's tuned to listen for these seismic waves, and it can pick up the vibration. The seismometer consists of a thing called a geophone, which literally has a coil and a mass, and it moves up and down
when the waves pass, and that's what it measures. And then there's this little thing called a Raspberry Pi inside the Raspberry Shake seismometer, and there's a digitizer. So it then transforms the data onto online data.
Brilliant stuff. Right. So, say for instance, like triangulation with mobile masts, so you can get a rough idea where something is with one mast, but if you can sort of measure the strength of signals from 3 or more, you can drill down more specifically as to where something actually is located. Is that what we could achieve with more of this, this equipment around the country? Yes, thanks. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's exactly correct. And we're actually currently developing an exercise where we're using triangulation from 3 Raspberry Shake stations that recorded the magnitude 2.5 6th of May Donegal earthquake. And what we're actually finding is that it's not necessarily fully hitting the epicenter of the location of where the earthquake was. And that's because we only have 3 stations. And the more stations you have, the more accurate your data becomes.
How do you determine the magnitude, but also the depth?
Yeah, so the depth it can be quite hard to fully figure out the depth, but the magnitude comes from looking at the waveforms and looking at it from all around the globe and doing some calculations pretty much to figure out the magnitude. And it's based off of the waveforms and the traces pretty much. And yeah, the system pretty much does it automatically nowadays. It's so technologically advanced that
you don't have to worry about it.
Into a system, yeah. But you also pick. So this exercise to locate the epicenter of the Donegal earthquake, the people will actually be picking the locations of where the seismic waves arrive. So there's a primary arrival, which is the first wave, and then there's the secondary arrival. So people will actually be picking that out, correlating the time, and then they calculate the distance from the earthquake.
Now, the scale, the magnitude scale, a magnitude 5 earthquake is not double a 2.5 earthquake. Or
so
is it like
it's on a linear scale?
Yeah, so as you go up, so there's a huge difference between a 2.5 and a 3 magnitude.
Yeah, or 3.5.
3.5, yeah.
100, yes, times. So, and it's basically...
So say that again, a 3.5 magnitude earthquake is 100 times out of a 2.5?
Yes,
wow,
that's correct. Yeah, I probably need to double check that's fully accurate. It's logarithmic, the scale.
Yeah, okay. No, it's fascinating.
And the energy increase is how you feel the difference, pretty much.
So... in terms of an earthquake that shakes the ground and an earthquake that breaks the ground or shakes very violently, are there different types of earthquakes, or is that just down to depth?
Yeah, so depth is a huge factor in how much damage is actually caused by the earthquake. That would be a main factor. So a shallower depth and a large magnitude can cause significant amount of damage, whereas a larger depth will cause less damage.
And is it all nature? Has there been any evidence or proof that any man/woman activity on the surface can sort of trigger or exacerbate earthquakes, or is this just a big ball of rock moving around and finding its settling points?
So yes, in certain regions of the world, you can say that there is actual human effects that can cause earthquakes, but in Ireland, this has never been found to be the case. We don't have any issues. Like in some parts of America, there may be some earthquakes that have been triggered by human activity, but I actually wouldn't really know too much about that myself. I wouldn't tend to look into it. Majority of the time, they are naturally caused.
So how does one become then a citizen seismologist? What's involved? Is there a cost? What do you need? Where do you need to be? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so to become a citizen seismologist, we're saying to come to our website. You don't necessarily need a Raspberry Shake seismometer to be involved. Our website, www.quakeshake.ie. It's going to be fully interactive for people to get involved. It's going to be updated with news about recent earthquakes. It has information about earthquakes, historical earthquakes. And you can, if you are interested, you can email us at info@quakeshake.ie. And the third option is that you could also purchase a seismometer, but There's many other ways to get involved. You don't necessarily need to have a seismometer to be involved. It's run on the Raspberry Shake website, and this is all open source data.
Why are you calling it Raspberry Shake, by the way?
So a Raspberry Shake is actually the type of seismometer that we're using for this program. And it's called a Raspberry Shake because it has a little Raspberry Pi computer inside of the seismometer.
Right, okay, yeah.
And that's how the name Raspberry Shake actually originates from.
And it's all really quite clever because it's like a milkshake.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good name. And shakes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're a geophysicist. What is a geophysicist? What is your particular focus?
Yeah, so to me, the simplest way of describing a geophysicist is that we look at the interior of the Earth and what we can't see. We look into the Earth. So there's different types of geophysics. There's people who study earthquakes, there's people who study volcanoes, there's people who study like the lithosphere, magnetotellurics.
What's your area of expertise? What do you like to, what excites you?
Earthquakes are what excite me, and teaching people about earthquakes, that's what I really enjoy about geophysics. That would be my field and area.
Okay, well listen, thank you for your time. People can contact the team, info@quakeshake.ie, or what was the website you mentioned?
www.quakeshake.ie, and people can follow our social media accounts on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and you can follow our YouTube at QuakeShake_, and that's lowercase letters. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, and people could really contribute to us, being able to identify more accurately the location and strength of these earthquakes in Ireland particularly. Okay, listen, thanks for your time, Laura. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Bye. Laura Riley, geophysicist with the Dublin Institute for Advanced Studies.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
It's important to take care of yourself when you're feeling unwell. And if you have symptoms of a virus, flu, or COVID-19, the best thing to do is to rest up and stay at home. Because you won't just be taking care of yourself, you'll be helping to protect other people too. People close to you, like family and friends, and people you've never even met who might be at higher risk than you. And don't forget to visit hse.ie for advice on getting better. From the HSE.
Cooney's Christmas shop has gone mad this Christmas with massive reductions on trees and lights. 7-foot Colorado was $299, now only $129. 7-foot Prelit was $289, now only $199. 1,000 tree bright lights was $79, now only $39.99. Need battery lights for your garland were $7.99, now only $5.99. Hurry though, only while stocks last. Cooney's Christmas shop, Letterkenny Retail Park, Letterkenny. Open 7 days and making Christmas magical.
If you're in Letterkenny doing a bit of Christmas shopping and the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's. The menu is packed with delicious options for all the family, including mouth-watering burgers, delicious chicken and battered fresh fish. Not to mention the famous Charlie's chips, the tastiest in town. All the food is hand-cooked to order, and there's a great selection of gluten-free options also on the menu. Happy Christmas from everyone at Charlie's on Pierce Road, Letterkenny. Open every Tuesday to Saturday from 12 to 8.
Millionaire Raffle from the National Lottery is back. With 1 millionaire guaranteed and over €6.3 million in cash prizes to be won, it's the biggest ever. The draw is on New Year's Eve and tickets are limited to 600,000. The National Lottery. It could be them. Gift responsibly.
And now the Highland Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK. Widespread Christmas shopping this December in Letterkenny. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
Right, it will turn wet and windy again for a time today with spot flooding possible. A band of rain will move northeastwards across the country during this morning and afternoon, followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Winds Fresh to strong and gusty. Temperatures 9 to 11 degrees. Now we have some bonus John Breslin for you. He's in studio with us. What's so funny about that?
Some bonus John Breslin. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
It's bonus content. It's a good thing, John.
How are
you haven't been out this time of the morning for a while. I'm good. And you are working, and Highland Radio is working through your show with the Lions Club in Donegal. Tell us what's happening.
Well, it's an online auction, and the Lions Club came to us with the idea, and it's a great one because it's an online auction. They're essentially doing all the work. They went out and they gathered up all the items, and then it's up to us to let people know that the auction is online, and just to go online and put in your bids. So it's been on for the last couple of weeks, and it ends today. So that's really just the message that we want to get out. If you've put in a bid, go back in and check and see if you've been outbid and you want to put in another one, or if you haven't been in already, you know, go on there and see what's available, and maybe put a bid on something if you fancy it.
Yeah, and which a good part of all of this, of course, is successful bidders will receive their vouchers and items the week starting December 11th. So. Yeah, in time for Christmas.
Yeah, they're really well organised, and once today is over, then they set about the task of putting people together with what they've got, and they intend to have it all done, I think, within a week. Yeah, so people will have what they want for Christmas, just in case they want maybe to gift it to somebody, or they want to use it before Christmas, or whatever. So that's important. Yeah,
over 100 businesses in Donegal have contributed. The whole thing's sponsored by SuperValu. Ensuring every penny raised directly benefits those in need. Have you some sort of star lots that you can run through for us, or is that putting you on the
yes
spot?
And no, there's so many. I think there's 123 at the last count. And I met with the Lions Club yesterday, and there's a few actually late additions. So 123 at the last count, and they range in size and type and variety. There's there's vouchers. For all sorts of things, and the value of those vouchers varies as well. And then there's physical items, and then there's things like nights away, weekends away. There's a lot of golfing experiences.
Yeah, Rossapena, Dunfanaghy, Critcharland, Ballyliffin, Letterkenny, Donegal Golf Club, they're all involved in this, because I suppose the idea, John, is that you can get something you want as well, because there's so much stuff in there, but at the same time you're supporting, which is always a great way to
I would
give.
say it's for Donegal Food Response Network, and there's 21 of these networks, or 21 of these outlets dotted around Donegal. It's a great cause, granted, but you know what, I'd say to anybody, don't buy something that you're not interested in. You go in there. There's 123 items, and maybe more at this stage. So if you fancy something, if there's something that you think you could use or somebody else could use, then by all means, put in a bid.
Now, the website's excellent, isn't it? It's bidding. Well, I won't just go through the actual Donegal Food Response.ie, and you'll click through. But let's say, for an example, a lot of stuff is still in and around the retail value. Some of it's underneath it as well. So I'm thinking Letterkenny Activity Centre, Activities and Experience, current bid €30. The retail value's €50. It is closing soon. So that's just one example. There's other fantastic vouchers for other spaces that are still under the retail value.
Well,
so it's actually almost like a sale as well, to some extent.
There's a few items that have gone over the value.
Of course,
people have decided, listen, I want that, and I'm prepared to pay whatever for it. But the vast majority of things, you're going to get them for less than their value.
Well, look at here, Glencar Circle K, Glencar service station voucher, right? Currently, the retail voucher is worth €100. The current bid's 75.
So you're going to save, there you go, you save €25 straight away.
You're donating, right? And 10% back in your pocket.
If that's what it goes for. Absolutely.
Exactly, if of course. But it's like everything. It's like eBay or anything. You have to have a punt.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant stuff. Okay, it's all very exciting. What are you going to be doing on the show later?
Just going through the items.
Let people know more.
Yes, I'm going through some of the items. I don't have the full list here, but Keith's coming on for an hour, and then David James coming on for an hour. We'll just be going through some of the items that are, with low. Some items no bids. Others have low bids, and then there's some really attractive things that people might have missed out on. So we'll go through them.
Stuff here, John.
I know.
There is some brilliant stuff. Please go on and have a look. DonegalFoodResponse.ie. Even if you just go and effectively to shop. Now, as John quite rightly pointed out, you have to be the successful bidder. But when does it actually close?
It closes today.
Today. So there is a real opportunity to donate to the Donegal Food Response and actually get something in and around its value or a little bit less. Now, as you say, it could go down to bidding and whatever, but there's so much stuff there. All right, that's brilliant, John.
I'd say most things will go for less than their retail value.
I think so, yeah. But yet, it's generating so much money for a fantastic service such as the Donegal Food Response. So yours is actually kind of an interesting, as always, special programme today. You've got co-presenters.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an unusual element in itself. And it's a little bit of a, I don't know, radio shopping, for want of a better word.
Okay. HVC.
Yeah. Right. With a twist.
All right, so tune in. That's going to be fun. Tune into that from 12. John Bresson, thank you very much indeed. Looking forward to that. All right, back after the news and obituary notices.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. Shop Lyle & Scott, Farah, Gant, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and online at evolveclothing.com.
My guest this week is Barry Doherty, the co-founder and managing director of C&B Agri Enterprises in Duncanely.
Business Matters in association with Atlantic Technological University, Donegal. Study for a Doctorate of Business Administration and obtain the highest level management qualification available. Visit atu.ie/DBA.
Uisce Éireann is Ireland's national water utility, responsible for delivering clean, safe and reliable national public drinking water and wastewater services for Ireland. For any questions about public water services or to report an issue in your area, we can be contacted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 1800 278 278 or visit water.ie. Uisce Éireann. Delivering water services for Ireland.
What could be nicer in winter than a warm, cosy fire like this? Well, how about a warm, cosy fire that's good for the environment, good for the country, and good for your pocket? Willow Warm long-burning briquettes are 100% carbon neutral, grown and made here in Ireland.
Hey Dermot, throw on another Willow Warm for us on that fire.
Sure, why not? Willow Warm, the brighter, cleaner, greener way to a cosy home this winter. See willowwarm.ie for stockists.
The Highland Radio Christmas Concert Countdown is on at the Mount Erigo Hotel, Letterkenny on Monday the 11th of December. Don't miss your last chance to kick off the holiday season with a great lineup of stars including Michael English, John McNichol, Claudia Buckley, our very own David James, and introducing Jack Keogh. This promises to be a brilliant night. Doors open at 7:30pm, show starts at 8:30 sharp. Tickets are flying out the door with just a few remaining at €25 each. Available at Highland Radio, the Mount Erigo Hotel, and at the outlet at highlandradio.com.
Live, on air, online, and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Donegal has been identified as an emerging deer hotspot due to the large but unquantified number of the animals in the county. There have been repeated calls for a deer cull to take place in the county following a number of collisions, particularly in West Donegal. A report from the Irish Deer Management Strategy Group recommends a deer cull does take place in response to a growth in the numbers of the animal. Agriculture Minister Charlie McConalogue is bringing that report before Cabinet today. He says the situation in Donegal is particularly challenging.
We can't have it continue the way it has been the last number of years. I look forward to seeing the recommendations of this strategy fully implemented, and coming from Cabinet today, I'll be stepping out those different steps and making sure that this action happens in the hotspots across the country, and then particularly as well, we see action in Donegal where there's been a real challenge growing in recent times.
The government's budget has come in for scathing criticism from its own watchdog. The Irish Fiscal Advisory Council says the coalition used gimmickry to downplay the effects its €12 billion package would have on inflation. IFAC says everything now approach was taken. Acting Chair Professor Michael McMahon says the government effectively has been rewriting the rules.
Even this year, they redefined something as windfall capital spending and therefore took it out of their rule. This is like if you had a diet and you said, I'm not going to eat like sort of treats, but then you redefine what a treat is. You start saying, well, a biscuit isn't a real treat, so I'm allowed to have biscuits. It's just gaming the system.
A Donegal councillor says he believes a commercial rate increase can and should be avoided in 2025. Yesterday, Donegal County Council approved spending of over €400 million next year, with day-to-day spending of €185.5 million and capital spending of €248 million anticipated. Commercial rates are not rising in 2024, although the recent revaluation programme in the county may see some businesses pay more. Chief Executive John McLaughlin told members that after 6 years without an increase, a conversation would have to be had about increasing the rate in 2025. However, Councillor Nicholas Crossan believes if all spending is subjected to rigorous value for money assessments, then savings can be made and a rate increase avoided.
We have public money to spend. We have to get the best value for money on that. I've been talking to business people throughout the county, particularly in my own town, but throughout the county, and they're saying that retail is very, very difficult. Now, we hopefully that they'll have a good Christmas spend, but it is very, very difficult, and I'm looking for the best value for money, that we can't keep increasing the rates of the ratepayer in Donegal. We must look inwards and see how Donegal County Council can make savings as well.
There are fears that someone will be seriously injured unless safety works are urgently carried out on Mill Bridge in Buncrana. It follows another near miss on the bridge. Earlier this year, a pram was hit by the wing mirror of a car, and last week an elderly walker had a lucky escape. Councillor Rena Donaghy says funding must be found to carry out the much needed works.
An elderly woman had her foot up on the footpath when a lorry came from the other side and was up on the footpath also. So that bridge needs to be sorted. We need to remove the footpath. There's no reason why we can't build a bridge similar to the one that they've done in Clonmany a few years ago. It's going to be costly, but a life would be a lot more costly.
Repairs to a burst water main may cause supply disruptions at Beltany, New Row and Milltown in Rafo and some surrounding areas as well. Works are scheduled to take place until 1 o'clock this afternoon. The appearance of a racist sticker in Derry has been condemned. Foyle MP Colm Eastwood has described the placing of the sticker, adorned with Nazi imagery and far-right messaging on a lamppost, as a reprehensible act. He says such a blatant expression of hate and discrimination has no place in Derry or in Ireland. And Derry Chamber is urging people not to write off the high street, saying the city centre has a lot to offer. It's after recent figures suggested shoppers in the northwest are concentrating their spending in retail parks and online. Chamber President Selina Horshey is hopeful people will buy local and support the city centre.
And we have seen that the early statistics that have come in from Retail UK suggest that the High Street was a winner more than some of the retail parks in terms of the Black Friday sales that have happened this weekend past. And whilst obviously it is down to a lot of online sales recently, we are optimistic that we will keep seeing footfall in the city centres.
With the forecast wet and quite windy again for a time today, with spot flooding possible. A band of rain will move north-eastwards across the country during the morning and afternoon. Some sunny spells and scattered showers with fresh to strong and gusty southeasterly winds. They'll back southwesterly as the rain clears. In highest temperatures today, 9 and hitting 11 degrees Celsius. Showers or longer spells of rain in most areas tonight, heaviest in the western part of the region. Breezy though, with moderate to fresh and gusty south to southwest winds in general. Again stronger in the west, with lowest overnight temperatures 6 to 8. Tomorrow, wet and breezy with showers or longer spells of rain persisting for much of the day. Top temperatures 7 to 10 with fresh to strong and gusty southwest winds. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Check up on all of today's news, of course, on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices for this Thursday morning, December the 7th. The death has taken place of Bridget Toy, 10 Foot Road, Drung, Quigley's Point. Bridget's remains will leave Liam Collins Funeral Home, Station Road, Carndonagh, this evening at 5 o'clock, going to the home of her daughter Anne and son-in-law Howard Clark. Funeral arrangements to be confirmed later. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. The death has taken place of Jim Clancy, Kilclooney-Moore, Portnew, County Donegal, and formerly Fulham, England, and Castleore, Ballintoher, County Sligo. His remains will repose at Chauvelin's Funeral Home, Sandfield Ardra, County Donegal, this evening from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Funeral Mass in St Teresa's Church, Ballintoher, County Sligo, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in Creevely Abbey New Burial Ground. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Killybegs Community Hospital, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Nicky Hanlon, Swilly Park, Ramelton. Remains reposing at the residence of his daughter Sally and Shawnee Mooney, Castle Street, Ramelton. Funeral mass tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Ramelton. Burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, donations if desired to Ramelton Community Hospital, care of any family member or Patrick Sweeney Funeral Directors. And the death has taken place of Margaret Patton, née Bouvard, Midcut, Drumkeen. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral leaving from there this afternoon at 12:15 for 1 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Drumkeen, followed by burial in the family plot in the adjoining graveyard. Family time please before the funeral today. Family flowers only, donations in lieu to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
This Christmas at Super Value, we have great offers to help you share the magic, like Super Value Fresh Irish Tomahawk Steak, save 33%. Super Value Signature Taste Party Food, 2 for €8. Selected Club, Pepsi Max and 7-Up 24-pack cans, €10. Plus, get money off vouchers every week on the Real Rewards app too. Share the magic this Christmas with Super Value in store or online.
Okay,
the county's number one talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to the programme. Good morning if you're just after joining us. Right, so someone very special to you could be receiving a beautiful Cadbury hamper after today, because we're going to be inviting your entrance into our competition very shortly. But also tomorrow we have a €250 one-for-all voucher as well, which is a cracking prize. But this hamper, it's a very luxurious one. It's not, you're not going to be disappointed with whomever gets it. So how do you nominate someone for it? Tell us why you want to send chocolate secretly to someone special this year. Why do they deserve it? What good reason do you have to send a Cadbury Secret Santa bar? Tell us about someone in your life who deserves your Secret Santa bar this year. But remember, keep it a secret. So call in and text your reason, but be careful. Don't reveal who it is. Well, you can. We'll make sure that you don't reveal it. So you can say who it is. I'll make sure not to mention it, all right? So tell us why they deserve this beautiful Cadbury hamper. Text some details as to why they're important to you. 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts. You can send your WhatsApp voice messages to that as well. And as I said earlier on, if you entered earlier in the week, resubmit them, will you please? Because it's not like we've said that person's not important and put it in the bin. Of course, everyone, it's just been so encouraging to read your comments about other people, because we forget how important we are to each other. And it's been a lovely reminder this week. So tell us why someone in your life deserves a Cadbury Secret Santa bar, and in the process they could win this amazing hamper, and it is really special. 086 60 25,000. And just a reminder for you to look out for a poster near you if you want to send a Cadbury Secret Santa bar to someone special. They're popping up all over the country, or you can search Cadbury Secret Santa for more details. Full terms and conditions, visit cadbury.ie. So get your entrance in now, please, if you don't mind. Okay, Christmas well and truly in the air. Some more of your comments coming in so far this morning. Greg, thank you for highlighting the hidden issue of drug debt. That's a terrifying scourge on Irish society and fueling the terrorist and respectable drug-dealing parasites that that now thrive so much in every city, town, city and estate in Ireland. Ireland is turning a blind eye to this and snorting, smoking and pilling away in a false sense of joy and happiness to escape the downs and normality of life. Sadly, people are in fear and will rarely speak out, as Gardaí and community protection is not there for anyone. Again, you know, Senior Gardaí have highlighted that a number of families are having to borrow to meet drug debts. And as I say, and I'll ask you again, if that's something that's impacted you, contact us in absolute confidence, 07491 25,000, and help us get that story, that reality for people out there. I'm shocked to hear people living in tents. I got €200 as a bonus yesterday for Christmas. Disability allowance is €400 a week. I'm getting help with electricity and heating. I got the live alone allowance. I never get a break. Respite in Mount Charles is closed down. I haven't got a break in 2 years. I live in Dunlow and we have no Vodafone coverage for a week. Does anyone know why? This is Sheshka in her own. It's I've been calling all week and keep being given the runaround. It appears all broadband coverage is out for all providers. Does anyone know what is happening? So are you in Sheshka in Dunlow or surrounding areas? Have you had issues with your Vodafone coverage? This caller seems to suggest it's a broadband problem. Hello, people have called me Mr. Hughes now. Second texter today. Just call me Greg, please. Hello, Greg. Do you happen to know how long the Shop LK gift cards last for? I've one which was issued at the start of December last year, and someone at work said they thought they had a time limit on them or they lost a bit of value over time. Pretty much all vouchers now do sort of reduce in value over time. But I will try and get that information for you, so stay tuned for that. To get you an answer. Let me see. FAQs. Okay. How much value can I put on a Shop OK share? Can I check my balance? How can I check? How can I use my cards? Let me see. I will see if I can find that information out. It's not just how long is my card valid for? Shop LK gift cards are valid for 5 years from the date of purchase, so it's well in date. Now though, starting the day after the 12-month anniversary of when the car was purchased. So yours was purchased at the start of December last year. So €2 will be deducted each month from the card's balance from now. Right, so you've had that Shop LK voucher for a year and it's the same value as it was when it was given to you. But because now 12 months has passed, the 12-month anniversary has passed, each month going forward, you will lose €2. It's from the card balance. So get on that ASAP. You'd use €24 over the course of a year, but it's there for you now. So spend it now and you won't lose anything. If I bring my plastic bottles back to the shop, do I get cash or a voucher for the same shop? I was in Central Park in New York some years ago and saw the down and outs, as they described them, searching through waste bins looking for plastic bottles and cans so that they could get a few dollars. It's a great idea. Not really quite sure if it's a voucher or cash. I can't imagine those machines would have cash in them. You know, like an ATM, because that could be a security issue. I don't know. Greg, they need to start and get every house using a plastic green bin before adding any more. In Europe, for waste, they give the option of having chickens to eat the waste, and they get eggs from the chicken. The hens will eat the waste. Austria, I think, France want to introduce it too. They give you grants for this. It's green and you get eggs as well. Great way to combat food waste. Never heard tell of that. So you give your food waste to the chicken gives you eggs. Okay. I think really what they want to use this food waste for, though, is electricity generation. The small number of complaints to GSOC upheld is irrelevant. If a complaint is made, it could take years to finalise the outcome. No Garda wants to risk his career ending in a year's time because some criminal decided to make a complaint. Gardaí should be allowed to do their job just like they have done since they were founded. Gardaí are no more than observers now when public disorder breaks out. And I did mention, they were more than observers now down in Dublin. They did use force down there because I watched the videos as they did it live. But I did point out that it is the GRA. It's the that pointed out as well that it is the case hanging over a guard, and it's had some really quite tragic outcomes. It's the case hanging over a guard that can provide the stress 2.5 years before you're found to have done nothing wrong. The Christmas boxes of sweets used to come in tins years ago. Now they come in plastic. Why don't they make them tin again if they want to reduce plastics? Well, both tin and plastic are recyclable, but I take your point. They're certainly not as big as they used to be now. Quite stingy, in fact. I want to mention one thing just before I go to the break, and it came in from Veronica. Christmas Lights Tractor Run in aid of St Bernadette's Special School Letterkenny will take place on Sunday the 10th of December. All vehicles with Christmas lights welcome to come. Registration from 4 p.m. in Milford Retail Park, €20 per vehicle. The run will start at 5 p.m, travelling via Kerrykiel, Rosnakill, Tamney, across the bridge through Carragart and finishing at the Boardwalk Bar and Restaurant for refreshments and a raffle. So this is this Sunday. Sounds fantastic. Might get a look at that ourselves. Right, so if you want to take part in that, and I already know people that are doing so, it's going to be wonderful. Looking forward to that. It's going to look spectacular with all the Christmas lights and what have you. Right, good luck if you're playing the bingo today. It is jackpot day, so theoretically someone could win money. Big time.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 7th of December, Jackpot Day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €6,400 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S4. It's game number 49. The jackpot number is 56. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers. 72, 76, 35, 42, 21, 57, 45, 1, 61, and finally 46. Phone your claim to 91048333 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny Clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who are unable to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Hot Country TV Awards concert in association with Galway Irish Crystal, 26th of March, Mount Erigal Hotel, starring Nathan Carter, Mike Denver, Claudia Buckley, Derek Ryan, The Tumbling Paddies, Robert Mazzell, Jimmy Buckley, Patrick Feeney, David James, Olivia Douglas, Michael English, Declan Nerney, Jerry Guthrie and many, many more. Tickets €30 available from Hotel Reception, Ticketmaster and hotcountrytv.com.
Find the Volkswagen new with the Caddy Cargo Transporter 6.1 Crafter and the new Amarok. With HP finance from 4.9% and service plans from $12.99 per month. Book your test drive at Connolly's Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, Letterkenny, or visit connellys.ie. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by the way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Visit volkswagenvans.ie for more information.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
Now we're joined on the programme by Donegal man Lachlan Hart, who has announced that the trailer for his first solo venture podcast, Corny, the last Irishman in the NFL, is now live. Is it just the trailer or is the whole podcast gone live now, Lachlan?
So as of yesterday at basically midnight, the whole thing went live.
This is what happens when it takes so long to organise an interview, Lachlan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations. Is this your first sort of big scale solo project?
Yeah, first independent podcast production. Yeah, like I've been involved in some. I'm thankful and lucky to have been involved in some really big projects. I did the Bertie Ahern and the Good Friday Agreement podcast. I worked on the sound design for that. I've worked on one called Unusual Suspects, and then a true crime series called Inside the Crime with Frank Graney, season 1 and 2. So I've been involved in those, but I've never really appreciated the production or the producer side of things, where you have to do all the research, all the phone calls, all the pre-interviews, the interviews, the editing. There's just so much that goes on before it ever got to my table that I never really appreciated. So I wanted to kind of see it myself from the ground up. And it really opened up my eyes and give me 1,000 times more respect for the producer side of things.
All right, this is a 4-part miniseries that delves into the incredible life of Neil O'Donoghue. So talk to me how you come across Neil O'Donoghue. Was it a happenstance, or had you had an interest in him and thought it's a story that needed to be told? How did this all come about?
Yeah, no, this was really bizarre. So about 10, 12 years ago, I was working in London with a company, and they were the first company to do live NFL broadcasts for the BBC, and it was on the red button. So NFL wasn't that big in Europe still at the time. And I was on the graveyard shift in the company. I was kind of lower down the rung. So I was basically just pulling the faders up and down for audio coming from the States. So that was the first time I'd ever really watched NFL. And I remember the first game I watched was with there was this quarterback called Peyton Manning, and he was phenomenal. And I was like, this is an amazing game. So I remember turning around to them, and there was a few ex-NFL players in the room saying, were there any Irish NFL players? And they all talked about Tom Brady and these guys. And I was like, but anyone actually from Ireland, born here, ever play? And they couldn't think of any. So I just dug deep and did loads of research and found old articles. And there was a book that would have mentioned him once or twice, and basically found out that, unfortunately for him, he was cited as, at the time, as one of the worst athletes in history of any sport. He was remembered for all these bad misses. So he was an NFL kicker. And he had all these misses that he missed, like to get them into Super Bowl playoffs and to win divisions and things like that. And now these are really high-pressured kicks, with 100,000 people watching, and you have maybe a 2-second window from the ball being thrown to someone catching it and holding it, and you kicking it off the ground. So you have a 2-second window to kick it and get it right and win a game that's been played for nearly 3 hours. And then the more I read about him, I was like, God, this guy actually holds loads of records for like the longest kick in college football history, the first ever Irish soccer scholarship to America. He holds the longest, or he's the 5th highest point scorer for one of the biggest teams in the NFL. He was their highest point scorer at the time for 117 points in one season, which was unheard of. So I was fascinated. I was like, how did he come from Clondalkin in Dublin as a GAA and soccer player to becoming an NFL kicker when he'd never watched a game in his life? So I ended up getting in touch with him and his brother. And actually, we had our launch last night in Dublin, and Neil came over. It's the first time I ever met him in person. And I found out then during the live show that Neil was very reluctant to ever tell this story in person with his own voice and everything. And he's turned 70 this year.
And why was that? Why was he reluctant? Is he sort of not shy, but
no, he's just overly modest.
Right.
Like, he had the most phenomenal career, and he just felt, it was 40 years ago. He didn't think NFL was big in Ireland because he lives in the States still. And they just felt, they'd done like articles for newspapers and stuff, and then the people would come back again for the same article, and it was all about just the games. That's all they were interested in. Whereas, unbeknownst to me, his brother asked me to come down and meet him. His brother is a guy called Coley O'Donoghue, who was actually the architect for Croke Park.
Wow.
So he called me down to his house for an interview, and I thought this was an interview for the podcast, but unbeknownst to me, Neil O'Donoghue himself, Corny, had asked, look, suss him out and see, is he just another journalist looking to make a few bucks off an article, or is he genuinely interested in my story? So funny, actually, I told this story in the night too. Me and my wife, who's from Letterkenny as well, we were due to fly out in the morning at like 5 a.m. And I said, look, I have to go down to this house to do a quick interview. I'll be an hour and I'll be straight back, and we'll pack and get ready and everything. And 4 hours later, I'm still in the man's house recording him. And it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm an hour's drive away from the house still. And I pick up my phone, and I have like 10 missed calls, 20 messages saying, where are you? Are you okay? What's happened? Is everything? So I was just so engrossed in his story, and I didn't come with a list of any questions or, nothing prepared in that sense. Like, I knew the story in the back of my mind, but the connection I had to this story and this guy was just like from the heart, for real. Like, I was genuinely interested in retelling his story and, retelling all the good things that happened in his career. And from that moment on, his brother Coley was like, this guy is the genuine deal. He actually wants to tell a human story here, not a sports story.
So, I mean, in any good podcast or documentary, I think it's access to, material that is good for me, because yourself, sometimes in the absence of that, it's just talking heads and stuff. And that's fine. Some people like that. I don't like that. I love when when you've got real good access. So clearly you have, because you've got the person himself telling the story. But you didn't leave it at that, and you potentially perhaps could have, because he's not on the record perhaps doing that. You've had to dig in for archive audio footage. I can only imagine what that was like. And also then getting, other people in to sort of tell the story from different perspectives as well. So, you know, this could have been an awful lot simpler than you made it for yourself. You wanted to go to town on this, clearly.
Yeah, like what was amazing is that, so he came from this club in Dublin called the Round Towers GA Club in Clondalkin. And my first phone call was to Neil. He said, try and find a guy called Tommy Keogh. He's heavily involved in Round Towers. So anyway, I found this guy called Tommy Keogh, and he's 85 years old. He was a past president of the club, and he invited me down to his house. And when I walked into his shed, he has a shed at the back of his house, and it's like a library of Clondalkin. He's just a hobbyist historian, and he had every photograph, he had every letter, he had every article ever about Corney, but not only about Corney, about anybody in Clondalkin that ever played anything or did anything.
And did he have documentation post his GEA career? What was he tracking him through his NFL career?
100%, yeah.
And was Neil aware of that? Sorry, Lachlan. This is why I don't make podcasts, because I can't shut up for a second. But in fact, would Neil have known that this guy was tracking his USA career?
I don't think he was aware that he was archiving everything.
Wow, okay.
He literally, yeah. So even last night, there's a lovely moment in the podcast where Tommy Keogh himself, the 85-year-old, he was Neil's first coach, actually, when he was 8 years old. When Neil came back to the club in 1985, this was at the height of his career, he came back for a night in the club, and he held like a kicking workshop for the club, for the young players. And on his travels back then, he wanted to write a thank you letter to the club, but he was in such a rush that he actually ended up writing it on a back of a piece of cardboard and posting it. And Tommy kept that letter. And last night, it was the first time since 1985 that Neil saw that letter handwritten in his own handwriting. It was just I have to hand it, the GAA community, never mind the NFL thing. The NFL thing is amazing in its own right, but like the GAA community are just a different breed. I was like blown away by the access they would give you, the time they would give you. Even the beautiful thing last night was that we had this event, and they all landed in with big trays of sandwiches to the event. And, you know, and they have the GAA bingo cards waiting for everybody, or the lottery cards, and the access they gave me and the respect. And last night, the turnout and the thank yous, it's just like I said this morning too, like, as I was making this, at the back of my mind, I was always like, oh, this should be a number one Christmas podcast, number one. And I thought it would be amazing. And then last night on stage, sitting beside Neil, the first words that came out of his mouth, he just broke down in tears on stage. Just, he was overwhelmed by the fact that we even bothered to care enough to tell his story, the fact that the whole community of Clondalkin came out for him, that people were just handing him gifts and photographs. And one guy actually went to the bother of finding, so when he was 8 years old, just to highlight how good a sports player he was, when he was 8 years old, he captained the under-13s to a final, and they won in Croke Park. And one of the guys at the function last night went to the bother to find those original medals from 1963, I think it was. I can't remember the actual, I think it was 1963, and brought the medals, got them cleaned up and presented them to Neil last night. So, and Neil said, like, throughout his whole career, and I mean, he played 8 years in the NFL at top level with the likes of O.J. Simpson, you know, these big names, and on TV in front of millions, you know, his biggest career win of his life was winning that under-13s championship when he was 8 years old. He just remembers getting on the bus and the pipe band being in Clondalkin when he came home, and they had bonfires lit, and, you know, he was just to his core GAA. Yeah.
Must have been just a remarkable journey for him as well. Does he live a modest life in the US?
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's so cavalier about everything. He's like, when he went to America, he actually got a soccer scholarship, the first ever Irish soccer scholarship to America. And after 2 years, that fell through. There was like price hikes in the US, especially with gas. And they drove to all their football matches or soccer matches around the US. So they actually said, we can't afford to keep this going. So they kept the basketball scholarship and dropped all the soccer scholarships. So, most people would probably just say, okay, I'll just go home. But he had this real tenacity and kind of just this inner belief that I could do more, do something else, and he would move on to the next thing always. So he ended up practicing football kicking, and he got trials for a university and ended up securing another 2-year American football soccer scholarship in one of the biggest colleges, like football colleges in America. Like, this guy had never, the first game he was ever at was 100,000 people. And a year later, he was playing in that same game. Nice. That's how fast he was progressing. But I can't even remember what I go on so many tangents.
That's it. And that's why I'm not focusing on particular parts of it and allowing you to pick it out, because this sounds like you just need to listen to it and enjoy the journey of the story. So, and I mean, it's an easy sell here in Ireland, and it's probably easy to market it because, you can do interviews like this and what have you and spread the word. But obviously this is going to have a huge interest to NFL fans, historians, Irish Americans, a massive hundreds of millions of people may well be interested in this in the United States. How are we going to try and get into their ears, Lachlan?
So thankfully, like the first steps have been made. The Irish Daily Star in the US, a newspaper, have launched an article there. And then we have a few contacts, like any of the Irish kind of business organizations and stuff, especially in New York, have been posting it. But it's difficult to get into the States. If it was official NFL podcast, it might be easier. But basically, we're hoping that the expats will just find
organically,
it, will
exactly. That's where the big successes come from too, don't they? Whereas, have you listened to this, or you need to listen to that, or someone hears in a big paper or magazine or online, they say we stumbled across this and you want to listen to it, because I think it sounds like it really needs to be heard. How difficult was it to track down the archive audio?
It was strange, yeah. Like a lot of the games are there, thankfully, but the games are 3 hours long, and a kicker's role, like a kicker may only see 30 seconds in a 3-hour match, because you have your offensive team and your defensive team. And then when the chips are down, they'll bring on this team called the special team, and they literally have about 10 seconds to set up, kick the ball, and hopefully score 3 points. So he may only get one opportunity a game. He may get 5. So I literally had to scour through all these games and just, you can see when a special team lines up, so you can kind of scroll through. But then if I scroll too fast, I might miss out on a bit of commentary where they're talking about Neil. So there's lovely moments where they're talking about the mentality of a kicker, and especially Neil in certain moments. Like this poor guy, he's famous for this specific game where he missed 3 field goals in sudden death. To get them to a Super Bowl playoff. The backlash was so bad that the team put him on suicide watch afterwards because the press hounded him.
GA fellas and girls as well too, they struggle to get over events like that there. I've spoken to too many of them for it to be otherwise. Yeah. Does he still focus on a game like that?
As in...
Does it bother him still?
No, so he, at the time, he was completely alone. They didn't have any mental health facility. Like, they had no services, especially in the teams back then, to deal with this kind of stuff. His family were all in America. When he was playing with the Cardinals, he actually was living in a hotel for almost 5 years. Wow. His family home was in Florida, with his family were there. So he had a lot of dark days, definitely. But he had a very close family. Like, his brother and him are like twins almost, and they were constantly in touch. And I would say if it wasn't for his teammates and his brother, it could have went the other way. And he talked about it last night when he got a trial for the kickers. He was pitched against the current kicker, a guy called Steve Little, and this guy was he was called a first round draft pick, which is unheard of in kicking, which means, kickers are usually the last to get picked, but he was picked ahead of quarterbacks and everything. He was that good. And after 2 years, he just wasn't he wasn't producing the goods. So they brought Neil in to have a trial against him, and Neil beat him in the trial. And your man said, look, congratulations, let me show you around St. Louis and we'll have a couple of drinks. And Neil was like, oh, you know what, we have a game coming up this weekend and I'm pretty rusty, so I think I'll just get up early and practice. So Neil went to bed that night, and when he woke up in the morning, he turned on the TV. And when he turned on the TV, there was news flash that Steve Little had crashed his car that night.
Wow.
And was paralysed from the neck down for the rest of his life. And Neil puts that all down to the pressures of the kick-in world, that, you know, they weren't really understood properly. They had no help, you know. It was like man up.
So much responsibility and no support. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Listen, Lachlan, I'm looking forward to listening to this. Actually, I'm going to listen to the first episode on the way home in the car. It's available on Go Loud, Apple, Spotify as well. Corny, the last Irishman in the NFL, and it's live now. Did you have the microphone out last night, or did you let everyone enjoy it, or did you say, do you know what, we've got all these heads now in the one space? There's an episode 5 here.
Yeah, we recorded it all last night. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So I'm being sent the file today, and I'll just go through it. Just Neil and his brother do like to hear bits and pieces before it goes live, just in case they have kind of stories that were just for the community. But we'll chop it down and make it sound nice and clean and everything. And we'll probably release that within the next week or two once we get a bit of traction. But it's nice to hear the emotion kind of raw in front of the people. But yeah, we'll definitely release a bonus episode.
Yeah, and you created all of that. I mean, not just the podcast, which will stand obviously the test of time, but that experience for Neil and his family as well, too. It's a remarkable gift you're able to give people. Thanks so much, Lachlan. Great to chat to you. I really do appreciate it. And as I say, I can't wait to listen to it myself. And I'm sure it's going to be a huge success for you. And I do hope it becomes that sort of organic hit in the United States that it clearly deserves to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care of yourself. That's Lachlan Hart there from Donegal, of course. His podcast, it's his first fully solo venture. It's called Corny, The Last Irishman in the NFL. It's a 4-part mini-series, and as you heard from Lachlan there, it delves into the incredible life of Neil O'Donoghue, 6'6" from Dublin, who broke barriers by becoming the last Irishman to play in the National Football League 38 years ago. Thomas on Facebook says, it was really hard listening to Greg talking so flippantly about the COVID inquiry in London and defending Boris Johnson's evidence and actually believing that there's a decent scrap of decency in how Johnson handled the organised scam that was Conjob 19. It's literally not what I said, Thomas, but I appreciate your comment. My assessment is that he was non-combative or what have you, but it was he was questioned very gently as well. Now, he's going to be asked today about... he's going to be asked today about the parties and what have you. But Thomas, what I said is what I was surprised at, just to recap, because maybe sometimes I'm not very good at explaining myself, but I'll just try and explain it once again. What I was saying is I think an awful lot of people perhaps thought that a COVID inquiry would be about... You've described it as con job, talking about that, asking questions about that. And what I was surprised at, it wasn't about that at all. There was a general acceptance, and there seems to be a general acceptance in the inquiry. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. A general acceptance in the inquiry that everything had to be done that was done. So they're not questioning him about you shouldn't have done lockdowns. They're questioning him in his answering about how he didn't do lockdowns quick enough. And in terms of the vaccine, you know, some people might go, well, what about the efficacy and what have you? But they're not. They're questioning him about the vaccine. Have they done enough about long COVID and what have you? So, as I said, and this is all I said, I think might have been a few people that thought the inquiry was about maybe finding out if it ever should have happened at all, if it was anything to worry about, was it just a flu? Do you know all the stuff that you heard? But instead it is accepting that everything is as was, but it's more about the timing of the measures that the government took rather than whether they should have taken them at all. That's all I was saying, Thomas. So I don't know how you got the assessment from what I was saying to where you commented, but I do appreciate all of your comments. I really do. And that's why, out of respect to you, Thomas, I wanted to sort of reply to you. I have not drawn any conclusion about the evidence, whether it's true, false, whatever. It's an inquiry. We watch it, then we decide. I was only sort of assessing the line of questioning and the nature of the responses from Boris Johnson, who's being hung, drawn and quartered for it in the British press, most of it anyway.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
Join David James on the Jive Time Show live from the Letterkenny Shopping Centre today from 2:30 p.m. David will have giveaways, prizes, and you can enter our Christmas car draw for your chance to win €1,000 every day in our Grand A Day giveaway from December 11th until the 22nd. That's the Jive Time Show today from 2:30 p.m. at the Letterkenny Shopping Centre.
Acres payments delayed. For more inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Find out why thousands of Western farmers will not receive acres payments until after Christmas. 1 year reprieve sought for farmers in peatland. Fallout from revised ICBF index continues as Dexter stars rise and Charolais fall. Details of new calf transport proposals. Find out how to claim stamp duty tax relief. And in Irish Country Living, we show you how to buy Irish this Christmas.
All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal. You cannot afford to miss it.
The Tumbling Paddies this Saturday night at Pulse Venue, Letterkenny. Doors open at 9:30. Tickets now on sale at Eventbrite with support from DJ Tubbsy. That's the Tumbling Paddies this Saturday night at Pulse Venue, Letterkenny.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
Stay warm for less this winter with Homeland. Valcas Energy Wood Pellets 10 kg. Buy 10 bags, get 1 free. Kiln-dried softwood logs. Buy 2 bags for €14. Nationwide delivery available. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie. Our McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre or online at ourmccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice whatever the occasion. Our McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
Okay, get out of here, Caroline. Waffling in my ear. All right, she won't come on camera, though. Right, okay, thank you very much indeed for listening. Right, so our Cadbury competition is ongoing. Just to give you a sense of some of the entrants that we've received. Well, it's got very cold in here. I hope there's no spirits in here, but anyway. Just to give you a sense of some of the entrants that we've had. One of these people, not necessarily from what I'm reading from, but of the people that have been nominated are going to win this beautiful Cadbury hamper. My wife, Kathleen, is my carer. I'm in a wheelchair. I was in Letterkenny Hospital for a number of months, just home 2 weeks ago. And overall, the last 21 years since I was diagnosed, she was there for me as a wife, as a friend and as a carer. I'd be lost without her. That's why I'm writing to you. I would like to nominate this person and the team in the Donegal Hospice. They all go over and above and are a very special team, and it would be great to give them something back. That comes in from Avro. It should go to my father, Joseph, who has been going through cancer treatment for a number of years now. He's 81. Throughout the treatment, he never stops doing things for other people without a thought for what he is going through himself. And a big shout out to the oncology unit in Letterkenny Hospital who've looked after him so well. And another thing, too, that's happened through these nominations is some lovely words about the care people are getting at Letterkenny University Hospital, that they're getting in the Donegal Hospice, for an example. Some great organisations with amazing people in there. I have an awful lot of, believe it or not, affection for Letterkenny University Hospital and the amazing care they've given people close to me, and also to giving us wee Hudson as well, the care they gave him when he was very sick when he was born too. I couldn't say enough good things about the people down there. Right, let me see. I'm going to take another break because we've got quite a bit going on here at Highland Radio, and we're going to have a run through with Sean as to what is coming up. We're going to tell you more about the card draw. We're adding a little bit of je ne sais quoi into it that makes it even more sexy. So stay with us for that. We'll take a break, come back with the weather. Sean will join us, and that'll bring us up to the news at 11. Is our musical guest still on the programme? I can't do a menu, Caroline, because you keep dropping things. Is our musical guest on the show still? Michael English is coming on the programme for sure today. We're so busy. And obviously other people are busy. I flagged that on Monday. It's Thursday now. So we're looking forward to Michael English. He's going to be amongst the acts performing on Monday night. I want to go to that, so I'm trying to move things around so I can get to the Highland Radio Christmas concert on Monday night. And it'd be a great opportunity actually to see so many of you there as well. So I'm higgery-jiggery pokering to try and get along to that on Monday night. But we're going to be speaking to a man who definitely will be there, and that's Mr. Michael English. That's all coming, and so much more besides over the next hour and 13 minutes.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
The move to electric is on, with Kia powering ahead in electric vehicle technology. Take the stylish Kia Niro EV, the multi-award-winning EV6, or the all-new EV9 with space for up to 7 people. Order your 241 model now to avail of flexible finance options, a free home charger, and a €500 super value gift card. T's and C's apply.
Visit Hearn Auto, Donegal Town for your 241 Kia.
Giving the gift of football at Brian McCormick Sports. New Adidas Euro 24 replica ball out now. The #1 football gift this Christmas. Precision grip socks. Match it up with a pair of precision footless socks. The perfect gift for any age. Under Armour and Attack compression tops to be worn under the jerseys. Available in many colours. The perfect Christmas gift for all the family. Click bmcsports.ie.
At Tesco, we're helping you become more Christmas. Brew up a storm with Lions Gold Blend 160 tea bags was €7.50, now €4. Cover your jumpers in crumbs with the full Pringles range was €3.49, now €1.50 each. And get in the festive spirit with Coca-Cola 20-pack and Coke Zero 24-pack cans were €18, now €10 each. Tesco. Every little helps. Club card required, subject to availability. Available in the majority of stores while stocks last. Prices may vary in express stores. See tesco.ie.
Country Sundays at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. Sunday 10th of December, there's Derek Ryan and his band. Sunday 17th of December, Michael English and his band. Doors open at 8:30 with dancing 9 till 11. Admission €15 at the door. B&B plus ticket only €70 per person sharing. Country Sundays at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
It's time to give your favourite hotel the recognition they deserve. Nominate now for the Highland Radio Hospitality Awards at highlandradio.com. Hurry! Let's celebrate excellence together. Nominations close on December 13th.
And now the Highland weather, brought to you by Shop LK. An accumulation of Christmas shoppers will descend on Letterkenny this December. See shoplk.ie or like us on Facebook.
OK, turning wet and quite windy again today for a time with spot flooding possible. A band of rain will move northeastwards across the country during the morning and afternoon, followed by sunny spells and scattered showers. Fresh and strong gusty. Southeasterly winds will back southwesterly as the rain clears. Temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees. OK, now, Sean Quinn, sales manager at Highlands, with us because there's an awful lot we need to talk about, an awful lot going on, and we're edging towards sort of deadlines, and that's why it's important to get you in to have a chat, Sean. So, we were talking about the car draw, by the way, and if you've been on our social media or on our website, you'll see the car. It's an absolute beauty. I might pop it up here. The car draw obviously is on running. Not long to go now, and you're sweetening the deal for Sean.
Yeah, it's with a bit of a twist this morning, Greg. So I did kind of allude to it when we were launching the car, but I'm officially saying today that if you haven't bought a ticket, I would suggest that buy one as quick as you can, because on Monday we will be launching for 10 days a €1,000 per day giveaway. So effectively that is 10 grand in cash. We will be giving away over a 10-day period from the 11th of December right through until the 22nd. But I must explain about the twist. So we will, and we won't disclose at the moment which shows it will be on, but we'll choose a show every single day from the 11th, and we will pick a ticket out the drum, and we will randomly ring that person. So that person, if they answer the phone, within, I think it's roughly about 5 or 6 ringtones, they will win €1,000 in cash before Christmas.
So there's 10 of those, 10 consecutive days. So for 2 weeks, we're giving away €1,000 per day.
Per day.
Right. So listen, folks, if you are inclined to enter the car draw, if you can afford to, you know yourself, the usual caveats. We don't want anyone stretching themselves beyond their limits. But if you have a tenner, or indeed we'll tell you how you can get extra tickets in a moment, enter ASAP, because it means that you will be in with 11 chances of winning. So if you buy your tickets between now and Monday, that means you're in 11 draws effectively. You're in 10 draws for £1,000 and a draw for a €30,000+ car. Okay, so now's the time to get in on it. You can go onto our website. Single ticket entry is €10. You get an extra ticket if you buy 5. You get an extra 2 tickets if you buy 8. You can put them all in your name or individually name them for other people. So the excitement is not only are you in for a car, but you're also in 10 chances to win £1,000. Now, I try and make this point and always struggle to make it. There's an awful lot of people enter online draws, and fantastic they do as well. But they're marketed right across the country. They're marketed across Britain and Ireland as well.
Yeah.
Many, many tens of thousands of people enter them. This is primarily for us here in the Northwest, right? So when we talk about 10 prizes of €1,000 and we talk about a car, we're not on a scale of some of these other competitions who do fantastic work, by the way, and I'm not in any way trying to draw away from them, but we're not on the scale. So chances are greater. Now, I'm not going to stand over that if you want to sue me, but that would be my take on it. You know what I mean? I believe that is the case, Sean. This is primarily for us. The winners are normally from Donegal. Do you know what I mean?
They are, yeah.
Not from Monaghan and Dublin
exactly.
and Cork and Bristol.
It's
this
within
is
our
a
region
Northwest,
of where we are on a daily basis.
Exactly. So to recap on that, and it couldn't be any clearer, there's a draw for a car. €10 the max you'll pay for a ticket. You can get them cheaper the more you buy. You're also in, if you get it between now and Monday, you're in 10 further draws for €1,000. I keep looking at you when I say that because it seems a little bit overly generous, and that's going to be right across our programming. But the caveat is that you have to answer your phone within a set number of rings, 5 or 6 rings. That's normally by the time it goes to your voicemail and a mobile, there or thereabouts. That's not the measuring stick, but that's just to give you an idea. And you have to answer. Is there a phrase that pays, or is it just the answer, or what's the buzz?
No, what we'll do is the answer to the question that you fill in when you actually buy your ticket. We'll ask you that. It's not a difficult question, okay? The key thing is you must answer your phone within that 5-second period. Now, if you don't, we will do a second opportunity during the day. So they say, for instance, we do it on the breakfast show with Lee, and nobody answers the phone. What we'll do is we'll flag it later on in the day, but we'll do it a second.
A different number? Or
a different number. Okay. We'll do a second draw. And if it's still not one, what we'll do is...
give it to me.
We'll actually roll it over.
Yeah.
So the next day will be worth €2,000. So the first number that we ring then on the Tuesday, €2,000. And again, we'll continue the I suppose the opportunity of if it doesn't be answered, we'll go again at some stage throughout the day for a second.
All right, okay.
chance.
So that's the €1,000 cash draws in the car draw. Home for Christmas. Are the applications still open, or what's the story?
It's closed.
Okay.
We got a absolutely phenomenal return and entry. It was so much harder than last year. Because it was global, Greg, as you remember. Mm-hmm. And some of the stories we got were just absolutely incredible. So we had an adjudication team, and we sat, and we've come up with somebody who's coming home for Christmas. But obviously I'm not going to divulge who it is, but we're going through a process now of bringing them...
the logistics, which is where the nightmare begins, as tough as it is to... Okay, that's brilliant. Home for Christmas. We'll give you an update on that as December rolls on.
Exactly.
The School Showcase is an exciting wee initiative. What's this about?
Yeah, so this is for all the schools in Donegal. We've opened up an opportunity for us to come to you. And all we ask is, why should we come to you? What will you do to entertain us? So Lee Gooch and the team upstairs will be out on the Monday, the 18th of December, and we're going to pick 2 schools. So we've had quite a lot of entries from parents. And what I'd ask today is that schools, principals, teachers, kids, if you're going into school tomorrow, is asked that question of what can we actually do.
So it could be a song or something. We'll call around. We'll have a lot of fun. Lee Gooch will be there. The Crack will be 90. It's to visit your school, and maybe most schools I think are working on something for Christmas. Give us a wee sample of what you're doing.
Exactly, and we'll come into a couple of
a 5-course meal or nothing.
Not at all. No, we'll come into a couple of shows during the day, and we're bringing prizes with us. So we have a tablet for each school that we go to, with some selection boxes for.
Now I've got Home for Christmas and Coming Home for Christmas. Are they the same thing?
They're the same.
But it was fantastic. I might actually be able to squeeze you in. So that's the school showcase. Get in touch with us. We'll work with you. If you want us to come visit your school live, put it out on the radio. We'll bring loads of goodies, and I'm sure you're rehearsing something for the holiday period for Christmas, and we'll just get a wee bit of entertainment out of you as well. And lastly, the Hospitality Awards. A phenomenal response to this. It's actually mind-blowing. Have you a figure?
We're over 10,000 nominations.
Okay.
Yeah, it's massive. It's brilliant. So what we're saying is, if you haven't done it yet, please do it, because we've less than a week for nominations. They will close. We'll go through our process then of shortlisting. So if you get it onto highlandradio.com, you go onto our website, you really can't miss it. It's sitting there. And if you feel that place, that restaurant, that bar, that facility, they deserve your vote.
The staff.
Go for it. The staff. Absolutely. If you're working there, because the shortlisted businesses will be there in the night. It'll be a brilliant night. Everybody will enjoy it. It's on the 4th of February. It's something to look forward to.
And it's in the Twin Towns too. Jackson's.
It is. In Jackson's.
Right? Brilliant setting.
I was up there yesterday looking at it. So it's... we'll just make sure it's an unbelievable night.
Well, the facility's amazing, so it's going to make it an easy job for you. Absolutely. All right, Sean, listen, thanks very much for that.
Just before we go there, very quickly, Greg, if people want to buy tickets today, they can ring us. I've got extra people looking after phones, so they can ring us on 07491 25,000.
So this is the tickets for the car draw. So for you to be in with a chance to win £1,000 a day for 10 days, it's 11 draws effectively. You need to get your tickets. So... it's perfectly safe and secure online, highlandradio.com. You'll see the banner there. But we obviously want to facilitate everyone. So if you want to call us and do it, Sean, you've laid on extra staff. You can call us right now, 07491 25,000. That ensures you're in all 11 draws.
Exactly.
Okay. Brilliant stuff, Sean. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Greg.
We're going to be going to the 11 o'clock news, which will be a couple of minutes late. Bear with us.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing, Letterkenny Retail Park. Shop Lyle and Scott, Farah, Gant, Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, and online at evolveclothing.com.
Make this Christmas special with a gift from Pandora. For a limited time only, spend €109 or more in store or online to receive your free sterling silver bracelet. But hurry, this offer won't be around for long. Ends 10th of December. Available in participating stores and online at pandora.net while stocks last. Terms and exclusions apply.
This Christmas, choose from a great selection of gift ideas at Michael Murphy Sports, including this year's hottest gift, the new Donegal GAA jersey. There's also new arrivals in official Donegal GAA leisure and training wear, and so much more. See michaelmurphysports.ie or call into Michael Murphy Sports at Station Roundabout, Letterkenny.
Nutrius Super Beef Gold ATP and Nutrius Max Maize Mix are now on offer at your local Homeland. Buy 10 25kg bags and get one free, or get €15 off per tonne in bulk. The Nutrius Beef ATP pack enhances animal performance through maximising rumen efficiency. T's and C's apply. Contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist today. Visit nutrius.ie for full product details.
At iMotors, we have unbeatable offers from Nissan. Call in Monday to Saturday, and if that doesn't suit, join us on the 7th and the 8th of December for our 241 late night opening until 9 p.m. Great 241 offers like 0% finance for our Nissan Leaf, or buy a new 241 and receive a brand new 251 on the Nissan Juke, e-Power Qashqai and the X-Trail with no strings attached. Visit imotors.ie today for more information, or call into our showroom in Drumkeen.
Did you see Fran's letter to Santa?
No. Dear Santa, I want a dolphin. Real one, please. And a donut as big as a car.
Dunn Stores can make Christmas for almost everyone. Whether you dream of amazing food, a beautiful tree, or the presents underneath it, we've got you covered. Except for dolphins and car-sized donuts. We'll leave that to Santa.
Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores.
Smokes and Grills in Letterkenny is now open for breakfast from 10. Whatever you're having for breakfast, have it cooked to order and served up with a hot cup of tea or coffee. A full takeaway menu is also now available. Order online at smokesandgrills.ie or call 9113333. Smokes and Grills now open from 10 every Wednesday to Sunday at Riverside Retail Park, Letterkenny.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show with Greg Hughes.
Okay, so at 2 minutes past 11, it's time for a news update. It's over now to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Northwest is the cheapest place in the country to build a house, but still comes at a cost of €354,000. According to a report published today by the Society of Chartered Surveyors of Ireland, the cost of constructing a family home in the county is 30% lower than in Dublin. Donegal Deputy Padraig McLaughlin says it now means a first-time buyer couple in Donegal will need to earn €85,000 to afford a mortgage. Donegal has been identified as an emerging deer hotspot due to the large but unquantified number of the animals in the county. There has been repeated calls for a deer cull to take place in the county following a number of collisions in West Donegal. A report from the Irish Deer Management Strategy Group recommends a deer cull take place across the country in response to the growth in the numbers of the animals. A Donegal councillor says he believes a commercial rate increase can and should be avoided in 2025. Yesterday, Donegal County Council approved spending of over €400 million next year, with day-to-day spending of €185.5 million and capital spending of €248 million anticipated. Commercial rates are not rising in 2024, although the recent revaluation programme in the county may see some businesses pay more. Some Gardaí had to stop a bus to get into Dublin city centre to help police the riots. The revelation has been made at the Oireachtas Justice Committee, where the Justice Minister has been appearing following the violent scenes 2 weeks ago. There's fear someone will be seriously injured unless safety works are carried out on a bridge in Buncrana. There's been yet another near miss on Mill Bridge. Earlier this year, a pram was hit by the wing mirror of a truck, while last week an elderly walker had a lucky escape. And Derry Chamber is urging people not to write off the high street, saying the city centre has a lot to offer. It's after recent figures suggested shoppers in the northwest are concentrating their spending online. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed.
Déithfá Cora va agad aniu a déithach saoil a Hábháil. Is féidir saoil den a Hábháil trí orgán na Jónú, ach ní raibh plé riomh ag go leorgain fi Jónú orgán lenar dailach nó lenar górda. Agus is fi ré arán a gurb iad sin a dhéanach an cinenne ar son. Mar sin, cuidig leis an gcinne sin a dhéanamh níos éasca. Tá tuile eolais ar hse.ie/organ donation, agus bíoch Jónú orgán ina ábhar cainte agah aniu. Ó aimimenacht na Seirbhíse Slánta.
All right, Chief Superintendent Aidan Glacken has described the drug problem in this county as a cancer on society. He says parents across Donegal have had to remortgage their homes in order to help pay off drug debts that have been amassed by family members. And this is one experience of a listener to this programme who contacted us this morning. 1 gram of cocaine in Donegal is €70-80, and they would use about 6 grams in a day, and it depends on their use. Some would use it more. The drug dealers come to your home and come at all times of the day and night, so it's hard to control what your son or daughter is at. We get very little sleep because we're watching where they are, what they've taken. It can be delivered within 15 minutes of making the order via the social media apps. Because of the cost, young people have to often start selling drugs to meet their addiction costs. Most drugs users are thieves and liars. Nothing is off limits for them to do because the habit needs fed. I'd like to see more sniffer dogs brought into the county to help with the issue in pubs and clubs. We are lucky insofar as we didn't have to remortgage, but it did cost us thousands in paying off that debt. I would appeal to every parent to speak to your GP to help get them drug treatment. Drug treatments are about €6,000, but if you're on a medical card, you can get that free. Most treatments are a month to 3 months long with follow-up meetings. Signs to watch out for is their eyes, not eating, sleeping. I've found my children's drugs in the smoke alarms, stuck under drawers, in socks in the drawer, behind photos on the wall. drugs gives them tunnel vision. As long as they get what they want, they're happy. But staying in educational work is impossible. That's one family's experience of a child in the house using drugs. They had to pay thousands of euro to pay off their drugs debt. This is to people trading in illegal activity. Thankfully, in this situation, they didn't have to remortgage, but clearly a huge financial expense on that family. Councillor Jerry McMonagle, Chair of the Donegal Joint Policing Committee. I mean, you don't know what other people are going through, are you? That's just one example of an entire family affected by someone's drug addiction.
Yeah, and look, your heart goes out to that lady and her family, and indeed many other similar type families who are in the same type of situation. This is a growing problem. It's something that I raised at the JPC because in recent times there is more and more families coming to the likes of myself and raising the concerns or telling us the stories about the threats and intimidation that they're under due to maybe one of their siblings or children have got involved in taking drugs. And this is the dark side of taking drugs, recreational or otherwise, as they're sometimes described. But if it gets a hold of you, that you'll do anything in to keep using, you may get involved in crime, or you'll start borrowing money of friends, family, and then it gets to the stage where, as the lady outlined, you end up selling the drug. And it is not these sort of sinister people who are coming to your door. It is the friends or the former friends of your son or daughter who are coming to your door who you know.
But there are enforcers too, though, for the big money that will come up from Sligo and other parts of the country as well. And how do you address that? Because if you go to the guards, they'll threaten you and say, well, the next time we visit, or if you go to the Gardaí, things will get worse for you. I suppose you'd almost have to admit illegal activity is happening in the household. Like the drug dealers have you cornered every which way. Now, we're not saying that people shouldn't go to the guards, but I imagine that's how people feel, that they have to deal with this themselves internally. It's just an absolute nightmare, Jerry.
Yeah, and as I say, I've heard the story, I've listened to them, and yes, they do use the sinister people. You deal with me, or do you want me to go and get the people that come here and they'll wreck your house and they'll break your legs and all of this? Them's the type of threats that they're issuing to families. And just recently, I mean, in the last week or 10 days, a family had to go and borrow money out of the credit union coming up to Christmas to pay off a drug debt for one of their children. And it's just ruined Christmas for them. They've tried to help and assist their child, and it's very good advice come from that lady today and by getting that help and support. But I think we need to be there and show the families that we're here and we're here to support them. The Gardaí is certainly there to support them. We recently, earlier this year, we brought up a detective superintendent from the National Drugs Unit who gave us a presentation on the type of crime that we're talking about, that drug debt intimidation, and how we could thwart it. And it's about talking to people. It's about being open about it. It's about going to the Gardaí and reporting it. But one of the things that the lady pointed out there about the help and assistance, we also need to put more resources into rehabilitation for people, young people in particular, who find themselves caught up with drugs, and far more supports. But look, the first protocol is, and if people don't want to go directly to the Gardaí, feel free to contact me. I will be the conduit for them. I've done it in the past. But you need to make that a bold step, and you will get the full support of the Gardaí.
Well, listen, I appreciate Chief Superintendent Aidan Glacken recognising there is a problem, but he's the top cop here in the county, do you know? So we also need solutions here. There's been an awful lot of drugs seized in this county in the last year, but if the truth be told, and I'm not criticising the Gardaí, it kind of fell on their laps a little bit, the majority of it. It was washed up on shore. So we have an awful lot of drugs in this county. We don't have a great deal of detection. We've got the senior guard recognising that there is a problem. He's calling it a cancer on society. Now we need to start talking about, right, okay, the JPC recognises it, the top cop recognises it, the media recognises it, the public know about it. What are we actually going to do now going forward? Because I think things are getting worse rather than better, Jerry. So do you recognise what I'm saying there, and what do you think the solution might be?
Yeah, well, look, and you're right in what you've just said. But I think there was some very positive news come out of the JPC last Friday as well, in that the drug unit has been reformed. There's 6 officers and a sergeant now in place to look at and deal with the drug pandemic that we have in this county, because drugs is readily and freely, no, not freely, but readily available on a phone call or a WhatsApp message. So there's a lot of work to be done. But I have to say also, Greg, that there has been a lot of drug detections other than the ones that was got on the beach. But we need more, and we need more enforcement. And that's an issue too that we have with the Gardaí, and you're well versed in that. We've had the Garda representatives coming on and talking about the lack of resources and the pressures they're under. But I think it was a really good news story come out of the JPC that the drug unit has been reinstated. Yeah. There's now 6 officers and a sergeant, and I would expect that they will get to work straight away, and that we will start seeing more results from the work that they'll do.
But what tools do they have at their disposal? Now, I don't expect you to be across everything, but, in premises, undercover, do they contact people on social media and nab them as they deliver their drugs? Will they stop and search people on the streets to see if they're carrying drugs? Or is there any surveillance to see, what kind of activity is ongoing? Because I think a lot of people listening would say they will know what's happening and they know who's doing it, and then they start sort of getting frustrated that the criminals feel that they can sort of operate without any fear of apprehension, if you know what I mean. So it's good to have the numbers there. Jerry, would it be useful maybe for the Gardaí, without compromising anything operational, to sort of help us understand how they are going to work to try and get to the bottom of these issues?
Yeah, and look, and the criminals involved are smart as well in how they go about their business. They're very careful. But intelligence is everything. And community can help the Gardaí with that intelligence. If they see it ongoing, and anecdotally we hear people saying, there's on our street, there's 3 or 4, blah, blah. But has that information ever been passed on? Formally, give the Garda intelligence. They have that unit there now. They can act on the intelligence. If they don't, you can go and ask them, well, I've told you this, I've told you that. It's still continuing 3 weeks later. What's happening here? So there is a responsibility now on the drugs unit that's been put in place to deliver. But they need the help and support, and intelligence is everything in that regard.
We hear about vapes, and it's quite important that we talk about that. Of course, young people using vapes, and schools are involved and all that kind of stuff. Is enough being done? And again, I don't expect you to be across everything that's happening in every school. I wonder, is enough being done in terms of education to educate young people, that this can become a major problem in your life, that in purchasing drugs, you are facilitating this industry as well, this criminal activity? Because I think there's kind of, especially if you only consume media, there's this sense that it glamorizes it, and that a bit of coke's okay, it does no harm, it's not as bad as drinking, all that kind of stuff. I'm not subscribing to that, of course. I wonder, are we doing enough in terms of education to give our children the best start to make the right choices?
Yeah, well, one of the suggestions I made at the JPC meeting last Friday was that in early New Year that we would start an awareness campaign, and that would involve going into schools. We have the youth councils, and I think it would be a fantastic initiative for them to take it into their schools, talk to their peers, and bring along the Gardaí, and if possible, if somebody is willing, someone who's been a victim of the drugs gangs, they tell their story, like we do with the road traffic accidents and all of that, road safety.
I think that'd be really useful,
That we do something like that, and we raise the awareness, and it's just not about what drugs do to you, but it's what it does then to the rest of your life, and what it opens up a whole quagmire of issues and problems, taking drugs.
Like when you think of, we can talk about if there's enough detection, drink and drug driving detection, what have you. When you think the amount of people that are detected with drugs in their system, driving. And that's only the ones that are driving, and that's only the ones that happen to stumble upon a checkpoint. It really, I think, gives you an example. It's like testing the water for stuff. It really gives you an example of how broad the use of drugs must be. One other story here from a listener. It's an important one as well, Jerry. And just another family devastated by drugs. I worked hard to pay off my daughter's drug debts, but they then victimised her at every available corner, following her, getting her friends to give the drugs to her for free again to try and get her hooked. She ended up having to move to Australia to get away. We as a family face this choice between letting her go to Australia with no one there to keep an eye on her, but knowing she was safely off drugs, or keeping her here and risking her being back addicted to drugs again. I mean, and that's a struggle privately in that house. You can only imagine the heartbreak and turmoil. It's just unbelievable, Jerry.
And it continues for all the victims. I mean, even after you pay the debt, they do what that person has just said. They continue to bully, they coerce, try to get them back into the drugs, taking drugs, because they know how lucrative it is for them. So, look, everything that we can do, we should be doing. And, you know, I know times people think about, you know, I don't want to be a snitch or anything like that. You're not being a snitch. You're giving the Garda the needed intelligence to clean up this drug problem, because it's bringing so much misery to families right across this county.
Right, okay. Listen, thanks for your time. I do appreciate it. That's Councillor Dre McMonagle, Chair of the Donegal Joint Policing Committee, to help us understand, please, and to get the message home. Nothing gets a message home like personal stories. And I know it's tough, but if you have any personal stories that you want to share about that, about addiction, about paying off, or having to borrow to pay off, or work really hard to pay off these drug addictions, please share them with us if you want to, and if you feel it would help. You can contact us in absolute confidence, 074 91 25,000. Okay, and you've been very busy on the lines today as well. I really do appreciate it. I'm bowled over by the level of interaction we have on this show. Coming up, we will be chatting to Michael English, brilliant performer. He's coming live to Letterkenny Monday night as part of our fantastic lineup for our Christmas concert. Have you a particular have you a particular Michael English song that you like that I can play as we come out of that interview? Let us know. What's your favourite Michael English song? 086 60 25,000. But we'll be chatting to him and so much more besides in the coming 41 minutes.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
9 till Noon Show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers, and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
Do you need help to make a healthcare complaint? Contact the Patient Advocacy Service. We are free, independent and confidential. We can support you through the complaints process for public acute hospitals and nursing homes across Ireland. Call us on 0818 293 003 or visit patientadvocacyservice.ie.
At Tesco, we're helping you become more Christmas. Cover your jumpers and crumbs with the full Pringles range was €3.49, now €1.50 each. Get in the festive spirit with Coca-Cola 20-pack and Coke Zero 24-pack cans were €18, now €10 each. And with Bailey's Original Irish Cream Liqueur was €22, now €10. You can let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Tesco, every little helps. Club card required, subject to availability. Available in the majority of stores while stocks last. Prices may vary in express stores. See tesco.ie. Enjoy alcohol responsibly.
Donegal Texel sheep breeders are holding a sale of 73 in-lamb ewes and 12 ewe lambs in Rafo Livestock Mart this Friday the 8th of December at 7 p.m. Online bidding via the Mart Bids app. That's this Friday at Rafo Mart.
Employers, Clever Cards is the only Irish company where you can order digital MasterCards online. Instantly email digital Clever Cards to your employees or contractors. Anywhere, anytime means late delivery never arises. Clever Cards are saved in your mobile phone, so you always know your balance. Small and large businesses use Clever Cards because they are accepted everywhere, online and in-store using Apple Pay or Google Pay contactlessly. First €1,000 tax-free. Order online now from clevercards.com. Clever Cards MasterCards are issued pursuant to Clever Cards interbank agreement with MasterCard. E-money's access with Clever Cards MasterCards are safeguarded and regulated by the Central Bank under EU payment service regulations. Clever Card is certified by Apple Pay and Google Pay. Terms and conditions apply.
'Tis the season to be jolly, and Letterkenny Retail Park is spreading the joy. Join us on the 16th and 17th of December between 12 noon and 4 p.m. for some festive fun. Discover mischievous elves spreading holiday cheer on our Christmas treasure hunt, filled with amazing prizes. Keep the celebrations going with our extended opening hours, so you can shop till you drop. Don't miss out on the fun. Mark your calendars and we'll see you at Letterkenny Retail Park.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
It is 21 minutes past 11. Now, the Highland Radio Christmas concert is just around the corner. It's on Monday night, takes place at the Mount Errigal Hotel. The doors will open for you at 7:30 and the show starts at 8:30 p.m. sharp. It's a great lineup, as always. John McNichol, Claudia Buckley, David James, Jack Keogh. Promises to be a brilliant night, as well as all of those people that I mentioned. Amongst them will be Michael English. Michael, good morning to you.
Morning, Greg. Great to talk to you.
Great to have you back on the show. How are you keeping, Michael? Flat out, I'm
very
sure.
Good. Yeah, I'm very good. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, it's raining heavily here in Kildare. I'm just getting ready to head to Wexford. We're in Wexford at a concert tonight, so all go, but going well, thank God.
It is all go. How do you look after yourself with so many concerts and, you know, an expectation from your audience to give the usual level of energy and performance? It must be something you have to get used to, Michael. I know it's enjoyable, but still, it is work.
Yeah, I suppose it's the same as everybody else doing their jobs. I suppose you get used to it, and it's a way of life. Really, I suppose you have to mind yourself and get enough sleep and get enough. Water is my lifesaver. I drink a lot of water. I find that keeps me good. And I go home every night and to my own bed. So I have a routine. Even though you're home late, a lot of the time, I wouldn't be one to sleep on in the mornings. That's the only problem I have. I wake at 8 o'clock, no matter what time I'm home. So, but I have a good routine and keep myself reasonably fit and walking and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, very good. And that's the walking also is good to shower the head as well as anything else. I mean, you know, a lot of us are looking towards and looking forward to Monday night, looking forward to Christmas. But I suppose, I mean, you're from a touring or performing point of view, you've got your eyes all over 2024 already, I'm sure, well all over it.
Yeah, a lot of the dates are done now. Yeah, we tend to do a lot of the dates a year in advance, so we know exactly where we're going to be. We'll be here in Ireland, we'll be in England, and we're going to America, we're going to Spain on Paul Flaffy tours in Portugal, and yeah, so a lot of the dates are done, and it's good though. It's good to know where you're going to be, and you can plan a little bit better than if you need a break for a couple of days or whatever. You can organise it. So
yeah, for sure. Those tours, those Paul Claffey tours, we're doing one to Slough next week, next year as well. They sound like good fun from a performer's perspective as well, Michael.
They are, because I suppose even though you're playing most nights, it's like it's different scenery and it's good weather and the music is full on. But the thing I like about it is a lot of the people that come on it, you know, when we see them in Ireland, we're after a show, we're heading home or whatever, and we only see them for a few minutes. We nearly live with the people for a week in Spain and Portugal, and you get to have a bit more time, and they get to know us, and we get to know them. And so yeah, it's full on dance and music from the time you get up until the time you go to bed. But
yeah, and a lot of return as well, and people form friendships. It's almost another community into itself, isn't it? Those that
like a reunion,
travel away. Yeah, exactly. We were asking people what their favourite songs from yours were. Lots coming in, of course. Maybe not surprising, The Blacksmith and the Barman. A lot of people love that one. And, of course, the strong Donegal connections.
Yeah, I wrote The Blacksmith and the Barman after a visit to Cranford, to Logues of Cranford. Because first of all, the Logue family are lovely people. And when I met them, you know, they reminded me of my own family. You know, you felt very much at home up there. But the history and the stories and about their father, who was a great man, who was a blacksmith, and he had the pub. So I was coming home from playing in Cranford, and I started to write. You know, he was a blacksmith and a barman, and he certainly was known as the man that if anything went wrong, you gave him a call and he would sort it out. So, yeah, it's a popular song, particularly in Donegal, but we sing it from time to time, yeah.
Yeah, you've a new track out too. It's a classic country melody. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, that comes from an album that I'm going to release just early in the new year, and also from a concert tour that I did. Every year I do a concert tour, and I try to bring something a little bit different to the show. And this year it was called A Million Medleys, and the show really was exactly what it says in the tin. It was a million medleys, a million songs that people. Going from one song to the other that people just love to sing and are very familiar with, from artists like John Denver and Elvis Presley and all of the greats. And that came from that then. That track is a medley of country classics that I never got the chance to record yet and always did. So that's where that came from.
Might as well do them all at once. The ones that you can't get around to. Yeah, why not? Now, come here. Tell us what we can look forward to on Monday night. We've got a great lineup. You're sharing the stage with John McNichol, Claudia Buckley, David James, Jack Keogh. You're going to be up on stage there. Obviously, it's a Christmas concert, a bit of Christmas, a bit of the old favourites as well, I'm sure, Michael.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm looking forward to meeting everyone else that's on the stage as well. And, you know, Claudia started her own band, which is fantastic for the business, and she's a great person. But I'm friends with everybody up there, and of course David is a mighty man. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be sharing the stage with them, and we'll be singing all of the songs that people will know, and a sprinkling of Christmas songs, and it's just going to be a great night. Funny enough, the Highland Radio concert is very special to me because it was the very first concert, the very first show I ever did in my life was a Highland Radio concert, and it was in the Mount Errigal. And I walked on. I didn't even have a band at the time. I walked on, and I just released The Nearest to Perfect, and I sang it, and that was my very first introduction to, you know, the big crowds and the big shows, and so yeah, it's special. It's special to be going back on Monday.
So it's our fault. No, I'm only joking. Michael, that's brilliant. And it's a lovely story, actually. It's going to be quite important for you to get back there as well, back up on that same stage as well. And we're delighted to have you back up, Michael. You've always put on a great show, and clearly, you know, one of our top performers across all musical genres. It's a real treat to be able to have you up on Monday. We can't wait to see you, Michael. And best of success for the Christmas next year, and with Classic Country Melody and the forthcoming album. Michael, always a pleasure. Can't wait, as I say, to see you Monday night, and keep safe. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Take care.
All right, that's Michael English there, and this is the Classic Country Melody.
train, feeling nearly faded as my dream. Bobby thumbed the diesel down just before it rained, took us all the way to New Orleans. I pulled my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana, was blowing sad while Bobby sang the blues. With them windshield wipers slapping time and Bobby clapping hands, we finally sung up every song that driver knew. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing ain't worth nothing but it's free. Feeling good was easy, Lord, when Bobby sang the blues. Feeling good was good enough for me. Good enough for me and Bobby McGee. Everybody's going out and having fun. I'm just a fool for staying home and having none. I can't get over how she set me free. Oh, lonesome me. A bad mistake I'm making by just hanging round. I know that I should have some fun and paint the town. A lovesick fool who's blind and just can't see. Oh, lonesome me. Well, I bet she's not like me. She's out and fancy free, flirting with the boys and all her charms. But I still love her so. And brother, don't you know, I'd welcome her right back here in my arms. Well, there must be some way I can lose these lonesome blues.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. Merry Christmas to all our customers and thanks for all your support every year. In store at Letterkenny Retail Park or online at evolveclothing.com.
At Aldi, we've got cracking Christmas offers throughout the store. 20% off all specially selected wines. And super savings every day with Aldi's Super 6 Fresh Fruit and Veg. Now from only 39 cents, both from December 7th. There's €40,000 worth of Aldi gift cards to be won with Holly Lane Christmas Mini Bites. And fresh whole Irish turkeys for an incredible $8.99. On sale December 20th. So what are you waiting for? Aldi. Share the love this Christmas. Terms apply. Visit aldi.ie for details. Get the facts. Be drink aware. Visit drinkaware.ie.
Connolly's Volkswagen Letterkenny, your only Volkswagen passenger and commercials dealer for Donegal. Order your 241 Volkswagen today. Get a cheaper quote. We will beat any quote on any new Volkswagen model. T's and C's apply. For more information, call our sales team today on 074 9122 333 or see our full range at connellys.ie.
My guest this week is Barry Doherty, the co-founder and managing director of C&B Agri Enterprises in Duncanely.
Business Matters in association with Atlantic Technological University, Donegal. Study for a Doctorate of Business Administration and obtain the highest level management qualification available. Visit atu.ie/DBA.
Sporting gifts this Christmas. Try Brian McCormick Sports. BPE boxing gloves and accessories. Unicorn dartboards and cabinets. BCE and Riley fold-away pool tables. Click on bmcsports.ie to see the new range. High-vis running jackets with high-vis hats, vests and accessories. Garmin watches to keep you on track. Give the gift of sport this Christmas. Try a BMC Sports gift voucher.
Join David James on the Jive Time Show live from the Letterkenny Shopping Centre today from 2:30 p.m. David will have giveaways, prizes, and you can enter our Christmas card draw for your chance to win €1,000 every day in our Grand A Day giveaway from December 11th until the 22nd. That's the Jive Time Show today from 2:30 p.m. at the Letterkenny Shopping Centre.
Now, the Department of Sport has confirmed it will enter a provisional grant agreement with the FAI project team to build the 5,500 person capacity state of the art venue for Finn Harps. It's the new stadium there. You might remember back in June we talked to Paul McClune, who voiced his frustration at the slow pace at which the construction of the new Finn Harps Stadium was having. Expressed frustration too with, maybe the certain elements of the civil service frustrating the process. That's a paraphrase, but Paul's with us now and he can correct me where I'm wrong in that. Paul McClune, good morning to you. Paul, can you hear me okay? Right, okay, we can't get to Paul now. I'll get Paul back in. I have my suspicions as what's going on there, so I will come out of that and go back into Paul McClune in a moment. Right, I'll get to some of your comments just whilst I am doing that. A caller says, Gardaí are aware that people are remortgaging their homes to repay drug debt. My question is, what are the Gardaí doing about the drug epidemic? How many Gardaí are employed on drug enforcement in Donegal? 1, maybe 2. If we don't tackle the problem, there's little point in lamenting the consequences. Well, it is more than 2. The drugs unit has been re-established. I'm sure the argument could be made that it's certainly not enough, but that was my question to Jerry. We all recognise the issues. What are we going to do to sort of fix it? Greg, you remember when we were younger, we took bottles to the shop on the holiday time to get a few pence? I don't quite remember that, but I do remember being told about it indeed. This is ridiculous. Shop LK penalising people with gift vouchers over a year. I've just used a Brown Thomas gift voucher without penalty. That's almost 20 years old. Vodafone in Dunlow, I'm in the same boat and I've no TV because I've got no broadband. They told me this morning it'll be another 2 days before it is fixed. And on it goes. Okay. Hi to Michael English from Sinead and Siobhan. Another hi. Can you say hi to the one and only Michael English? When he's on, that comes in from Mary Barr. Greg, can you please play The Blacksmith and the Barman by Michael English from Fagogi O'Donnell and Mary and family in Philadelphia from Frank, Eileen and family. Look, I'll play that a little later on. Paul McClune, can you hear me by any chance, Paul? Are you there? No. Okay, Paul will come and join us on the telephone, I think might be the best move there. Caroline, if you could sort that out for me. Government to blame. Let me see, what's that about? Read the dual carriageway. What's going on the dual carriageway? There's one lane closed on either side. Does anyone know? And there is also, at least there was yesterday evening, the inside lane of the roundabout out there closed as well. It's obviously causing problems in and out of Letterkenny. I presume they're doing work. A caller wants to ask other listeners, did anyone else on long-term illness benefit have an issue with the payment this week? I'll repeat that again. Did anyone else on long-term illness benefit have an issue with payment this week? I haven't heard of any further issues, but listen, we'll throw it out there and see what's what. Right, as I mentioned, so the Department of Sport has confirmed it will enter provisional grant agreement with the FEI project team to build the 5,500 capacity Finn Harps Stadium. As you might remember, Paul McClune joined us in June of this year, voicing his frustration at the slow progress. Paul, good morning to you. Thanks for rejoining us.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning to you.
Right, okay. Do you, obviously we all welcome this most recent announcement. Do you feel it vindicates you speaking out, or do you think we would have arrived at this position in any case?
Well, as you know, Greg, I've worked in the public service myself before I retired all my life. And definitely you have to jump up and down now and again to make your voice heard. So I think it was the right thing to do, as was proven by the award of the funding. Like myself and just a few other guys just shooting the breeze, if you like. Patsy Lafferty, Letterkenny, Barty Midlin, Ballybuffet, Barry McElhinney from Inishowen. Just the four of us got together. We put together a series of applications just to help out Finn Harps, and now we've been awarded in total 5.7 million. So I would think that's good vindication, Greg.
What does this mean actually in terms of getting this project up and running in earnest? How far away are we from that? Because we do know Finn Harps themselves have recently sort of started a big fundraiser with a view to progressing this project.
Yeah, well, as I said, we're just a project team. We're independent of Finn Harps. We're not directors or anything like that, but we have secured this money on their behalf. So if I was Finn Harps, actually, I'd just get the show on the road. I know they have to borrow money, they'll have to take risks, but planning permission expires in September of next year, and there's a time, like any of us building a house, where you mightn't have all the money, you mightn't have everything in place. But I think it's time now. I think the whole county's waiting on it. Just, if I was Finn Harps, I'd get the show on the road, get moving. I think, without a doubt, Greg, that the whole county will get behind it. You know, I know the guys in Finn Harps sometimes do me head in, but, you know, I think over time it'll take them another 2 million to do it. They will say otherwise, but I can tell you, I know the score with the public service, so I would think if they get the show on the road, the county will support it. But I think the time for talking is over. There's enough money there to get it going. We've also secured $1 million overdraft for them from the Western Development Commission. We've got them a $500,000 deferred payment from one of the contractors. So, you know, all the ducks are in a row, you know, but not everything's in place. But it never is when you're trying to get a project going.
Listen,
So
Paul, I know we all have to work together on this, and we're all pulling in the one direction. And I certainly don't want to stir anything or throw any fuel on the fire.
Yeah.
But is some of your frustration now turning towards Finn Harps? Do you think they're being overcautious? You know, you're speaking like someone who's working very hard for Finn Harps, but at the same time has quite a bit of frustration stroke criticism. I don't know how to frame that. But as I say, I don't want to stir anything, but I know you're a straight shooter as well.
No, you're dead right. But the fact of life is that the planning permission expires in September next year. So you have to have 3/4 of the stadium construction underway at that stage. So that's why I'm saying to you, Greg, the time for talking is over. Let's get on with it. There's enough funding there. Like the guys that I've worked with are all volunteers like myself. We've secured that funding. I think the Finn Harps crowd are great people. They're very difficult for them. They're all voluntary, and it's a tricky job working in the League of Ireland, working with the FAI. So we're all absolutely behind them. If I'm saying something, Greg, that you think is stirring it, then that's good, because the time for talking, as I said earlier, is over. The whole county wants to see this happen. So let's get on with it.
Are you also suggesting that the right decisions have to be made really quickly, or we could see this whole project fall to pieces?
Well, the planning deadline, sharpens the focus of everybody. So we have to get it going. And I don't think, as I say, I'd shoot the breeze. And as you say, I shoot straight from the hip. I have arguments with Finn Harps, but they're all great people. They know where I stand. I know where they stand. But we're going to help them get this done. And I think the whole county is going to do the exact same thing. So, I wouldn't blame them for being cautious, and there's risks to be taken and all that. And I fully appreciate that. But we're going to help them. And I just think the whole county will row in behind them. And let's get it going. And I think there's extremely good people on the board of Finn Harps. And I think if they go for it, it's going to happen, and we're going to help them. And I think the whole county will. And if I'm frustrated, I don't mean to be, but there is a deadline and we have to get the show on the road. It's as simple as that. And the money's now in place, Greg.
Yeah, you've talked about your endeavours and with the other three gentlemen that you mentioned. And then you also reiterate that you're not a director of Finn Harps. What is that relationship there? Because, I'm not saying you're off on a solo run whatsoever, but there does seem to be a direction of traffic from, the directors of Finn Harps, and then a director of traffic from another group of individuals working with and for Finn Harps. But there is a separation there. Again, I could be misreading the room, but it just seems a little bit strange to me.
No. Well, you see, to secure funding in this day and age, with the transparency and that, we have to be independent. When the funding comes, and the department are absolutely insistent on this, is that there's an independent management board to oversee the project. In other words, that any funding they give as a department does not go into the bank account of Finn Harps.
Understood. I get it.
It's an independent bank account to construct the stadium, and that's on their insistence. It's not, we'd love just to be, all working on the same bank account as Finn Harps, but that's not the way the rules of the game work. So we just have to work with due diligence, do it properly, and but there's no animosity, there's no arguing with anyone, but it's time to get the show on the road.
Brilliant stuff. And on that note, we'll leave it. Thanks for that. Just wanted to clarify it because I'm sure if I'm thinking something, maybe the listeners are. So great to have it all clarified and that we understand. Paul, thanks very much for your time. Best wishes. Paul McClune there. Okay, back with more shortly.
9 till noon show, sponsored by Evolve Clothing. 2 floors of men's winter fashions. This Christmas, it has to be Evolve, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. Open 7 days.
Don't miss the final weekend of the incredible Lidl Derry Londonderry warehouse clearance sale, with daily offers of up to 70% off on all your middle aisle favourites this weekend. Find us at the old Lidl Derry Londonderry store on Buncrana Road this Thursday the 7th of December to Sunday the 10th of December. See you there for our final weekend.
Spoil someone with a beautiful fragrance this Christmas from McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Choose by designer, budget or celebrity. Top names like Chanel, Lancôme, Christian Dior and Jimmy Choo. Also great prices on Yves Saint Laurent, Prada and so many more. The best fragrant gift sets available this year can also be found in McGee's Chemist Main Street Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie. McGee's, where the best costs less.
Hi, Tommy Bow here. Get in store to check out my new 15 Kings clothing collection, available in premium gents outfitters nationwide and at 15kings.com.
Dear Hut, Shai Emily.
Bawad lo ma hervish already done a agro.
Vai Barbe. Cadi the Hiola.
Alana director Sparky Hartig. Temple Kuik Mila She's on Lanishin.
Kinta. O Anner, Fefe Car, Beg Gach Teilig and Air and a dead of Shervish already done. Kibay out to Williconier to spell at the Hervishia agri to Hangawali in of the Valahor draw Vila Raha. Like Dil Olish, Tor Quarter My Ways Punkai. Marnie Bach are an Achor soil and Eargultocht. Arna Herfoil the Dig Realtus Naharan.
Give the gift of Redcastle Hotel and Spa to your loved ones this Christmas. Choose from a range of memorable experiences to suit all. Visit our website to view and purchase our gift voucher offers and experiences, including our winter getaway offer from only €125 per couple. For more information, see redcastlehoteldonegal.com.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
Whatever the weather this December, Letterkenny will bring a warm front to your shopping and great value for your pocket. Highland Weather Forecast, brought to you by Shop LK.
Don't know about the weather, but there certainly isn't much daylight out there. Let's see what the weather forecast is for us. Turning wet and quite windy again for time today with spot flooding possible. A band of rain will move northeastwards across this country during the morning and afternoon, followed by sunny spells. Can't see sunny spells, but anyway. And scattered showers, winds fresh to strong and gusty as well. Right, okay. Our final hamper of the week goes to this special person, a super sister, as she's described. And as I say, I don't want to be too soppy on it, but it's been lovely reading your nominations for people special to you. So this person will get the surprise of the beautiful hamper to keep them full of chocolate over Christmas. Hi, I'd like to nominate my baby sister. Where to begin? Since she was a child, she was different. She mothered and looked after everyone, including elderly neighbours and relations. At 13, she was voluntarily assisting a neighbour with housework and home help issues that no 13-year-old should. As an adult, she's helped so many people, both with her work and private life. She's gone above and beyond with every situation she faces, never complains, unlike me. On that matter, a few years ago, she noticed that I was struggling mentally. I was drowning and she pulled me up. She sorted me out. Again, no words for how much she did for me. She has 4 beautiful children. One was born with additional needs. And, well, that child could not have been born to a better mother. She fights her cause, gives her every opportunity, as she does with the others, gets her to every therapy, puts in so much additional educational work, all whilst holding down a job. I genuinely don't know where she gets all her strength and energy. I'm tired even writing this. And how... anyhow, that's my nomination, my super sister. And your super sister is going to win that beautiful hamper from Cadbury. Really worthy winner there. Tomorrow we've got a €250 shop voucher, one for all shop voucher. That's going to be the prize tomorrow. So we're going to open up the phone lines, the text lines again for you. Speaking of phone and text lines, since we announced 10 days of €1,000 a day. We're going to be giving €1,000 a day from Monday away as part of our mega card draw. Again, if you are inclined to buy a ticket, today's the day to do it, today or tomorrow. Then you're in 11 draws. Every single prize a cracker, 10 €1,000 and the car worth over €30,000. It's a beauty. So 11 of you are going to do really, really well between now and Christmas. So if you get in now, you're in all of the draws. We have extra staff on here to answer phone calls if you prefer to do it over the phone, 07491 25,000. Our website's really busy as well, and plenty of people calling in. We're more than happy. A lot of people don't deal with cash or prefer to deal with people face-to-face. It's really important that we keep that connection with our listeners as well. So you can call in to us here at the Mountaintop in Letterkenny as well. So I can't wait. We're going to do it a different way. You're going to have to be listening to Highland, or at least have your phone close to you, because we'll be ringing someone across different shows Monday to Friday next week, Monday to Friday the following week. You have to answer within 5 or 6 rings. Answer a simple question. That's not really a complication of it. And if someone doesn't answer, and it's going to break my heart if it happens in this show, if someone doesn't answer, we roll that over to later in the day. And if they don't answer, then it's £2,000 the next day, and on it goes. But I believe we'll do really well. We'll have great success. Okay. Let me see. Let's go to some of your comments here towards the end of the programme. Watching the debate with the independents, Matty McGrath, the Healy Rays on immigration, talking on their constituencies. Politicians never listen to people. 700 refugees have come in this week before Christmas. People from Africa can't come straight. They have had to come from another country. I'm a daughter with 3 children living in a wooden house for 4 or 5 years. Her and her husband work. They can't get a mortgage. How can we solve housing? I wonder if it's anything to do with the fact that it's rural TDs who represent rural communities. Maybe they see and hear rural communities and the effects of large numbers in small villages and towns with absolutely no facilities for locals or poor immigrants. From what I can see, people don't listen to rural communities anymore, from farmers to fishermen, all neglected for years. Why are we being called racist and far right when we when we are out in our streets every day protesting for the Palestine community? This is recreated by the government, not the people. Ireland is not racist. We're just sick of the inequality, and no one gets labelled far right or racist on this show either. Greg, I think what you have to remember is that people don't mind helping, but when we are having to put them on the streets, it's time to stop. All homelessness is bad. And although the state refuses to have a referendum because every poll carried out shows that the vast majority of Irish people oppose the demographic destruction of Ireland through mass immigration. Another, good morning, Greg. There you go again, giving out misinformation. 20% of the working population is immigrants, so please correct yourself. 20% of the population are immigrants not born here. You need to remember the media's job first to report the facts, not fiction. Okay. I'll double check that, of course, and I am not an authority. If I get something wrong, I'm more than happy to reflect it. I'm not here expressing my views either. I'm platforming other people's views as well, and when need be, to put opposing views to tease out a conversation. The guest yesterday has the view that immigration, because that is what is being said worldwide, is seen, it's only Irish media that's not aware of it. We are open and easy to enter and open everything free. Many we talk to actually say this. An asylum seeker arrived here, and in 3 weeks he was in the High Court because there was no accommodation for him. Now, in all honesty, how did that happen? I don't believe he figured out our laws and courts that quick. Well, there are NGOs that would be working with him to take a test case. You can be sure of that. There has to be a limit on how many immigrants are allowed in, population size, infrastructure, GDP, etc. If not, it's a recipe for disaster. Let's have a referendum. More coming in here. I, for one, am sickened by the inherent racism of the vast majority of your respondents, Greg. I find it vile, invidious and disgusting. Again, I try on all issues to try and invite people of all different points of view to get involved in the conversation. But sometimes I think it's those that maybe are more angry or motivated that text into radio shows, and maybe those that are happy enough, don't see an issue, don't take the phone out and sort of go, I think everything is rosy in the garden at the moment. I think that's just a factor of how people might communicate. Greg made a comment yesterday that if all immigrants left the country, we wouldn't have enough nurses and doctors and other professions. Caller says this is not the case. For every Irish professional immigrating to Australia or other country, we're taking in an equal amount of unemployed individuals without these skills. There's a lot of talk of far right, but countries such as Sweden and Italy are run by a far right government and are the most civilized countries in the world. I don't get into the far right left. It's generally accepted that if all the immigrants working in healthcare, hospitality and other areas just left the country like that there. Don't forget there's many nurses, doctors from here that move elsewhere because they don't want to work here. The money's not good enough. They're not being forced out or dragged out. There is a general consensus that many services would collapse or be under severe pressure if the immigrant population that work here moved away tomorrow. I'm not saying that. That's not my opinion. I've seen and read studies in relation to that and heard commentary from people who know more about it than I do. We were talking to the Cunninghams yesterday. That poor family not getting answer about the death of the young brother, but I think another example of discrimination against Inishowen in Donegal. Them brothers need answers and should get them. Bless them. Terribly difficult for them. Thank you so much to all of you who texted in and messaged in and who understand as well too that, you know, we're not pushing an agenda here or whatever it might be. We're just trying to give people a platform to speak. Stay tuned, as you do every day, for John Bresson. He's coming up around the Northwest, but he's got some special co-presenters in studio with him, so there's going to be a bit of crack as well, you can be sure, and it's all about supporting that amazing raffle auction that's happening with the Lions Club as well. It's going to be extra interesting, it always is. But for me, Greg Hughes and the team, Caroline Orr and Shannon working on the show, have a lovely Thursday. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning as usual.